5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live.
You are the only participant in the conference.
All right, they're getting in here, Campbell. I'd like to welcome everyone to HBCU Coaches Corner. I'm your host, Rocky Miller, along with my co-host, the Rattler himself, the Bishop, Mr. Stephen Campbell. We had a very interesting weekend, Mr. Campbell. Let's just say some dreams were crushed, some hope continued to, there are fan bases that continue to believe, and there are others making their Thanksgiving plans, understanding that they will be home for Christmas and after Thanksgiving. This is kind of a strange place for you, Mr. Campbell. You've been part of the Rattler Nation, which for the last few years was in it to win it down the stretch. Even if you weren't winning it, you were in the thick of it. This year, Mr. Campbell, I'm not sure what you're in, but it's not what you've accustomed to, man. How does this feel right now as a Rattler fan, just winding down the season, realizing that all hope is lost?
Hey, man, listen, we haven't been able to do a crime report. What I did, we still have our agents out there. And, we have the CSI crew. And I had to send them specifically down to Tallahassee, down on the field, Rocky, because I said something's going on. There are no snakes in the end zone. I need to know. We used to have 30, 40, 50 snakes a game in the end zone. And he said, I got a report, and I can report it right here now. James Coles has pulled a snake away in the end zone that has prevented snakes from going into the end zone. So we got to fix that, man. We got to fix that right there, man. You know what I'm saying? We got to fix that, man. And we got people coming in there, man. It was so bad, man. And people catch me tomorrow with Mike, man. The M-Bar opened up a pop-up shop. How many wings we was giving out down there in Tallahassee, boy. That's how bad it was, man. Now, it was a pop-up shop.
So because I've been through to Bragg Memorial Stadium and seen what all that it has to offer, on a scale of 1 to 10, what was the atmosphere like as far as, game day atmosphere?
Man, the great thing about it, and I said this, shout out to the ONG Strikes. I did a Monday review, man. I'm going to say this is why I've always said FAMU should have been the SWAC. I know what Jack State's going to bring. And shout out to my homeboy, Ashley Robinson, because I knew that he was bringing the boom. Our AD asked him. He made sure it made it happen because we wanted that SWAC big game atmosphere. And, man, listen, the crowd was down there. A lot of people in Jackson, that didn't go to Vegas. They came down to support their Tigers, man. It was a night game. The Marching 100 was ready to roll. The Sonic Boom was ready. The J-Sets. Man, the atmosphere was there. Club Bragg, good crowd. Even though I thought we would have had more, but that had a lot to do with Florida State's homecoming. The rooms were really high, unfortunately, this time of the year. So we probably would have had more people there. But, man, the atmosphere was ready to go, man. It was really exciting. A lot of my home folks was there, you know what I mean? So, man, you know, it was just great, man. So, you know, I hated that on our end, we did not deliver like the game was last year. I didn't mind, you know, the game went down to the wire last year. I would have hoped it would have done this year. But you know what? Jack State came down and took care of their business, man. They took care of their business.
Hey, I hate that this is a thing, right? they counting down to the moment that I'm gonna get messy or cause trouble, man. I don't understand why that's a thing, and I would, and that is the sentiment of many of our followers that come in the HBCU Coaches Corner, that they feel that I'm being mad. I just have those questions and those concerns that make you say, Again, some would say just by mentioning the Rattlers and their strife that they're dealing with this year, that's even messy. But I think it's a fair concern because this, in my opinion, okay, me and you took a couple 6-hour drives, and you were telling me about the drive, you were telling me about the history of FAMU, that you guys did have some down periods in your history. And I just couldn't imagine what I had watched under the helm of Willie Simmons was an abundance of talent, which was very, very clever play calling and a suffocating defense for really 3 straight years at the time. So I couldn't imagine Florida State having this kind of dip.
FAMU.
I'm sorry. FAMU having this kind of dip. I just couldn't imagine it. That's what I'm going to get to. In your wildest dreams, 2 years post Willie Simmons, could you have imagined this could have happened?
No, because in the end, and I will say this, the thing that is, when you looked at last year, you saw the talent, you thought, you know, the coaching was not up to the level, and you figured, hey, you know, first year coach, getting out the Kings, get your people in place, and then come in next year, you know, they say, hey, we got guys that we feel really good about, we got faster, the offensive line is going to be better, we got people that have come back, and, you know, so you had hope. But, man, listen, that first game down in Miami was a harbinger to what was going to happen. And I tell you that it was so funny. I told those guys there.
That's an SAT word.
But, hey, how about that? You know, and I told the guys on the ONG Strike Zone last night when we had did a prediction, right? Prediction show. So we know coaches watch the show. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't want to be the FAMU Debbie Downer, right? Because I had kind of heard some things that we weren't clicking, especially on the quarterback. I heard the quarterback was not clicking at all, right? Before you know, because we were supposed to get this other guy that was an all-conference D1 guy, you know what I mean? And that fell through. So when I looked at our schedule,
you got the year before,
like
you had got the year before,
right? Yeah, exactly. So if we had got that guy, he because again he was the all-conference at D1 level, so he probably would have came in and been the best quarterback in the SWAC because of the play at a high level. That's what would, you know, least would have gave us that, right? I looked at our schedule. And I knew that those games that we lost, we were going to lose those games. Not the Howard game, but the 3 home games. There was no doubt in my mind because after that Howard game, I said there's no way. Because I knew what Alabama State had. I knew what Jack State had. And I know Trey Oliver. You see what I'm saying? So when you know what it is can you do it? And then when you play Howard, you don't see any, you know, the thing with Jet Petty, he's not playing. And then you play that, because we played Central first, right? Yeah, we play Alabama State first, then Central. So when Alabama State comes down there and it's just no resistance, then you go and then you play Central, and then you barely beat Alcorn, you barely beat a bad Alcorn team. And I'll tell people this, and I talked about this, and we're going to talk about this because my Jack State people understand it. That kid Lockhart goes to be special, man. That kid Lockhart is going to be special. And I'm going to tell you this, and this is for the old school JSU, not for the, because they ain't going to even know because they weren't born. That kid going to be the next Shannon Boyd. That boy might not lose a conference game. Well, might not, put it like this. They lost a conference game, but he didn't quarterback. But him quarterback, they might not lose a conference game next 3 years with that boy quarterback. like Shannon Boyd. They are right there. So everybody that's trying to get there, they better get it together next year. Because with Shannon Boyd, what was so great about he had the running attack, he had the Lewis Tillmans, he had my boy that played Tim Barnett, the Houston Hoop, these guys, the Derek Carr, they had super talent around Shannon. But what Shannon always did in those big games, when he needed to make a big throw, he made a big throw. He needed to make a big run, he made a big run. So he never had the flashy stats of a Superman Ken or nobody like that, but he had the best record out of all of them. Because when it was a big game, Shannon Boyd was going to make sure they won the game. So that's the thing about it. With this kid here, I can see he's going, just his mentality and just kind of watching him and where his teammates are, he's already a leader. You can just tell. I saw Rempert get in his behind a little bit, which was good. Probably more of a senior leadership moment. Hey, you need to do this. You need to coach him up. But like I say, man, we better get it together. Seriously. The whole SWAC better get it together. Or it could be a funny thing down there on 1400 Lynch.
Well, since you already kind of got into that question I mentioned, Lockhart, I'll ask you straight up. When Jacobian Morgan went down against Grambling, I can be honestly say that I didn't think it was in that game. I didn't think that it would lead to what eventually happened, right?
Right.
We'll save the Jackson State faithful the pain and misery of, mentioning what happened, but I didn't think what would happen. They brought in Stouffer, didn't work out. Brought in Lockhart, was able to right the ship and gain the lead, but eventually they would come up just a little short with a miraculous kick by the kicker and some heroic play by a true freshman. My question to you is, coming out of that game, my concern was, could Jackson State repeat with a backup quarterback? And so that's where, with you laying eyes on the quarterback live and seeing the team, can Jackson State repeat as not only SWAC champions, but Black national champions with a backup quarterback?
Well, here's the thing. The defense is good enough to win a championship. The offensive running attack is already at a championship level. You got the playmakers on the outside. So again, the thing that, they're not going to lose another game. And like I said, that Bethune game is going to be interesting. I think it'll be interesting all the way to the third quarter. And I think Bethune, they just don't have the defense to hold up against that running attack. I think they'll be able to score. So Jack State, like I say, it's simple. To beat this Jack State in this TC iteration, it's about getting them to turn the ball over and getting it where that game gets funky. That's the two. Grambling's really good at that. That's why they beat them 2 years in a row. They've gotten those turnovers. They got in the game to get kind of crazy, and they're hanging there. I don't know if Bethune could do that. They can score, but I don't think they're going to. Now, on the flip side, when they play the teams from the MEAC, they're going to go against some well-coached teams. But what I have yet to see, if you look at the three favorites, Delaware State, North Carolina Central, South Carolina State, I don't think South Carolina State has the defense that they've had normally, right? So that kind of works against it. I think they're still, and even with their quarterback offense, I think that's shaky. Delaware State has the offense because they can run the ball, right? Shorten the game, but their defense can't hold up against Jack State. So the only team that would have both sides, and they're weak at the defensive back position, but they got a great quarterback and they got a great running attack, would be North Carolina Central. That would be the matchup I would want to see what Trey Oliver would do. And mind you, Lockhart, let's see. So what they got? 4 more games left? Is that right? 3 more games? So he will play, huh?
Yeah, Lockhart, they have 3 more games and the SWAC championship.
So he's going to play 4 games, and the 5th game will be the SWAC championship. That's half of a season right there that he's going to play and be comfortable and know the offense. So that's the thing about it. So he's not going to come in there bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like, for the lack of a better term, coming in to brag and stuff like that. He's going to matriculate and know the offense and be very comfortable by the time the Celebration Bowl rolls around. So I don't think anybody. I don't want to hear people say, "Well, he's a freshman and he hasn't played." No, he would have played. And the thing about it, he's got big games. See, every game in Jackson State counts. They got to win them. So every game he plays in from here on out is a big game. Can't lose to Alcorn because of Alcorn, and they got to win because Alabama State is on their heels. Can't lose to Bethune because Bethune-Cookman is on their heels.
Well, let me say this. There have been a lot of backup quarterbacks come in and help out championship teams for 1 or 2 games. There are a lot less instances of quarterbacks coming in and taking over a team and then running them to the championship. The only one I can think of in my mind is Jeff Hostetler when Phil Simms went down in 1990 in probably the second, third of the season, and Hostetler led them all the way to a championship through the playoffs. I don't remember many other circumstances in football, period, where the backup quarterback has come in and then led the team to a championship. Yes, Tom Brady, you're correct with Tom Brady. He kind of took over at the beginning of the season. That's the beginning of the season. And matter of fact, and took Nick Foles. Thank you. That's another instance of where that happened. So that's why I was kind of figure out how often does this happen? Because usually what happens is I've seen it where more likely where backup quarterbacks play 1 or 2 good games, they get film on them, and then their effectiveness kind of dwindles or fizzles out. I'm going to put the call lines up, and anybody can call in. I don't care where you're from. And tell me why Jackson State can win a championship with a backup quarterback, or if you want to make an argument why they can't win a championship with a backup quarterback.
Well,
because,
go ahead. Finish your thought because I want to go ahead.
Because and the next thing I was going to give you a chance to show me where this has happened in the SWAC or in college football recently, because that's where we are.
Well, let me tell you something. Well, I think you got to be careful with the term backup quarterback, right? This kid is going to be a future starter. There's a difference between a backup quarterback that doesn't have the ability to be a starter, right? Compared to a person that has the ability to be a starter. He's the backup because they got an all-conference player that was in front of him. That's why he's the backup, not because of his talent. Because his talent, quiet as kept. If Lockhart was at FAMU, he start. If Lockhart was at several other schools, Lockhart was probably starting down at Prairie View. Lockhart was starting at Texas Southern. So that's what I'm saying. He has a starter build. And I'll tell you this, and I'll give you this on the college level, who had a confident quarterback, seasoned quarterback, but had a more talented guy behind him, is when Clemson went all the way with Trevor Lawrence.
And as I think about it, I'm thinking about 12 gauge as well for Ohio State. He relieved, I believe it was Barrett. He came in for R.J. Barrett, and 12 gauge Cardale Jones came in.
And that was during the playoffs.
Yes, that was during the playoffs. Yes. So, hey, caller, with the last 4, 9868, you're live on HBCU Coaches Corner with Steve and Rocky.
Yo, what up, fellas?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. This is Calvin.
Go ahead, Calvin.
Calling from the Jacktown. What Lockhart has is the best advantage. He has the running game for Jackson State. I don't think Jackson State has had less than 200 yards rushing all year long, or somewhere close to it. So he's not an idiot. Just keep running the ball. Don't have Lockhart do too much out of himself, and then it has a good defense. So could he win it? Yes, but you got to simplify some things. You know, I don't think he needs to be throwing about 30 passes. If he can keep them around the 10, 15 range and just run the ball if you can, because who else is going to stop us from not running the ball in the SWAC at least?
And that's the thing.
What I got to say.
You know, I agree with you. I don't think anybody can stop you guys from running the ball. but there are several scenarios where you guys could end up down 2 scores where you would have to throw the ball. And in that situation, you wouldn't have the luxury of being able to turn around and hand the ball off to you. In that situation, I think you guys would be way more comfortable with Jacobian Morgan at quarterback. Could you be confident with a true freshman back there if you happen to be down a touchdown with 5-6 minutes left to go?
That's a position that I don't want to be in for true freshmen, to be honest with you. But things happen in football. You got to come up, people run the first team, you got to get out early and keep it. You can make those throws, if you can make them a throwable ball, like a 5-yard and under, make a dunk, something to get his confidence up the first couple of throws. But if you're running the ball like we did against FAMU on Saturday, that play action game is going to be wide open. That safety is going to have to bite. That slant and go sluggo is going to be open.
And he's going to have to get. Now, I didn't watch the game, guys. I did see him in Grambling, and in the game where I think he kind of struggled passing the ball in a critical moment, he was able to hit a strike to Rembert late in the game. Were there any plays in the game this weekend where they had to have it and he was able to come through?
No, not at all.
We had to have it.
Yeah. Was there any had to have it moments?
No, sir. No, listen, no. They took care of that.
Defense been all the way over.
Yeah, no, they took care of that at the end of the second quarter and the beginning of the third quarter. That game was over right there. That boy was on cruise control on that. Hell, Stover could have came in there and won that game after that.
Yeah. So and that's what I'm telling you. That's when a guy like Jacobian Morgan is important to have him on the team, is because he's had a history at those had to have it moments. He's come up with it. I have to admit this as being a guy that has said many times that Jacobian Morgan is a trailer rather than a truck. But I've seen him come through in several instances where Jackson State had to have it. He came through with the big throw or the big run. And so my question is, can this freshman do it? And it looks like the Jackson State faithful believe he can. Hey, man, Calvin, thanks for calling. You got anything else before we drop?
Well, one thing, Southern, y'all still suck. I hope y'all don't win another game. All right, I'll let y'all.
Oh, man.
Now, listen, I'm going to tell you this. Now, this is what's so crazy. When you sit back and, we're going to go, guys, we're going to kind of free flow. We're going to have a big guest on. We almost had a big guest just tonight, but the coach had, he's working on some things, but we have a big guest. So we kind of free flowing. So, we're going to go every which way. But he went to Southern. And let me just tell you like this. I have been around a long time, and I have seen some bad Southern teams. And I remember in the 80s, that's when Southern really got known as a bad school in the 80s, because they wasn't winning nothing. But this right here, to lose to UAPB, man, that is something right there. And looking at their schedule, because this was, to me, the only other game that they could have won. They might only have one win this whole season. And they were predicted to win the West.
Yeah. This may be the only season where two coaches get fired in the same year. Hey, we got a caller from the same team. We got a caller with the last 46422. You live on HBCU Coaches Corner with Stephen Rocky. What's your name and where you calling from?
What's going on, Rocky? What's going on, Mr. Campbell? This is J Love. I'm calling from Dallas. How y'all doing?
Hey, what up, J Love? What you got for us?
So I kind of want to chime in on the statement you made about, can Lockhart get us to a Black National Championship, or can he win a Black National Championship? And I think it boils down to 3 key components. And I've been thinking about this, since Morgan went down. Number one is what Mr. Campbell said is very, very true. He had 4 games. He got 4 games to play. So he played well. He made freshman mistakes at FAMU. We had that fumble right there in the red zone. I know we all seen that. and then he missed Dupree running down the field with nobody around him. He just completely overthrew that pass. That was one big mistake. And then I want to say another one he did. He threw in double coverage against FAMU safeties, and they just did not they just didn't pick the ball. I still don't understand how they didn't catch that ball. So he's making freshman mistakes, but after 4 games, you kind of that's a long time. 4 games is a lot of football. It's still a lot of football left to be played. And these are must wins for us. We can't drop a game. So he knows he got to come out and be playing at his very best and making sure that he's making IQ throws and passes. That's number one thing. It ain't like we got the season a wrap. He can go out and he's got to play his best football. So that's number one. Number two, I think the biggest thing, the second big, it's going to be coaching. TC and Quinn are going to have to do their best coaching in these last 3 games because, number one, the defense, we got to be able to keep teams close. In that FAMU game, the offense really wasn't clicking in the first half. Well, we went into the first half. What was it, 3-3 or 3-10, something like that?
3-10, and it should have been. And this, I'm not being disrespectful, but I'm just being to your point. It should have been 3-3 going into the half. It really should have been. To your point,
it should have. Yeah, it should have.
Just the way the game was playing out.
Exactly. It should have been 3-3, but we were fortunate enough to get that score right there before the half, which was big for us because it really boosted the morale of the offense. But the defense is going to have to keep the games close. We can't let a team get up 14, 20, 17 points because the offensive production, he's still a young quarterback. Now he's a freshman. He's a true freshman. He's not a redshirt freshman. Like the first backup, whose names is just slipping me right now. But he's a true freshman. So the defense is gonna have to play good. And then the last thing, the last big point that I gotta make, the coaches, they cannot veer away from the run game. Regardless, even if a team is loading the box, which I think Valley's gonna do, and I know BCU's gonna do it. I know Bethune's gonna do it. Even if they load the box, we're going to have to stick to our run game because our offensive lineman and our running back room is too talented. It's just like Novocaine. Give it a little bit of time. It's going to work. Them boys will find some seams. And a true freshman quarterback best friend is a running back. So I think if we play solid defense, allow him to get comfortable in the offense and be efficient at the run game, I feel pretty good about winning the SWAC. Now, the Black Natty, it's hard to repeat. It's just hard to repeat, and I don't want to put too much dip on our chip just yet. Let's get to the SWAC championship first. Let's finish out strong there, and then we'll see how it go from there. Let me know what y'all think, fellas.
Well, I think you now. The caller has put up some great points. I think that so this is what have been my criticism of TC for probably the past 2 years. When he has a dominant running game, he still has chosen to tinker and dabble in the passing game. I'm a guy that favors the running game. So if you got it clicking, there's no reason to drop back and pass it or anything, in my opinion. And TC has always been someone as a coach that's willing to call those running plays no matter how well the running game is working. So with that being said, Mr. Campbell, we got another call. Do you have anything? Let me go to
I just want to say, hey, man, that was a beautiful call. It was a very intelligent call. It was a well-thought-out call. That's what we're going to be doing tonight, man. The one thing I will say about this, man, in this show, hey, man, we got a lot of smart people that know football. So that's what we want you to call in. We ain't go over here talking about nobody mama and all that crazy stuff. We over here talking about football, you know what I'm saying, and what's going to happen. But I will say this, though, Rock, and we got my nephew in here, Lionel. But I'm going to say this. Here's the thing. What's going to be interesting, if it works out the way it is, Prairie View coming to Jackson State, you got to understand you do have a championship coach in Tremaine Jackson. And he understands in those moments what would need to be done to win the game. And the thing about it is, even though they lost to Alabama State, they do have a defense. And defense travel. So in the game, like he said, hey, we did 4 turnovers. That's why Prairie View lost that game. The 4 turnovers lost them that game, to be honest with you. So that's the team that will be sitting, lurking in the wings with a great coach. They're not going to be our coach because the coach, Tremaine Jackson, outstanding coach, TC. So the coaching battle is going to be even. Nobody's going to say this much or that much, right, on that end. But the problem is again, where I think Jackson State can be explosive, even with a freshman, and by that time has played multiple games where they can go get a big play from Savage. They can go get a big play from Remember. They can get a big play from Armand Miller, go 65 yards at Davenport. Those are things that I want to see. Prairie View, that's what they're going to have to do. They can't allow that. And again, once again, the blueprint was Grambling in Las Vegas. They did not allow those big shocking all plays of Jackson State just going crazy. So that's the thing about it.
All right, caller with the last 40527. You're live on HBCU Coaches Corner.
All right, what's up, guys? Thanks for taking my call. Hey, this is Fan, you KJ. Man, I was just watching your show here, and I saw where the question was, can JSU repeat as SWAC and national champions? Let me just say this much, man. I'm going to say this, and I want to say this not as a hater to JSU or whatever, but I'm a former ball player fan. I'm going to hope that that's not the case, because what that does, man, it continues to show how far off the SWAC and HBCU football has fallen, man. When you look at, like I say, now it's one thing to be, say, a backup quarterback, like say the second year red shirt freshman, but a true freshman can come in and like I say, just pretty much hand the ball off and make a little play here and there to win. That just shows you really how far off the HBCU football is really. When we were playing, man, there's no way in it. If your quarterback, the normal when we were playing, we had two good quarterbacks, right? But if you can go now in the same way, and it just shows, man, how embarrassing the loss was last Saturday for FAMU, with just a guy handing the ball off pretty much. And pretty much TC was just actually experimenting. I know sometimes I heard my man Campbell was saying that was some of the best football that FAMU has played defensively. And I'm gonna respectfully disagree. He was actually just experimenting to see what his quarterback can do, because he always knew that I can hand the ball off and win the game. Let me see what my quarterback can do. It was almost like a scrimmage. And you saw where he just said, okay, that's enough playing around. It's 10-3. I'm going to go ahead on and hand the ball off, and we go roll up 400 yards of rushing or whatever. So it just shows, man, just how far and how bad, and then what we're starting to see again, what's happening with NIL. You're starting to deplete talent so much that maybe 1, 2, 3 teams pretty much may have some decent talent, and then everything else is just mediocre in how you're playing, man. So, again, respectfully, if Jackson State does it, kudos to them. But as a whole, for HBCU football, I hope that doesn't happen, because we're already not taken seriously as a conference. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. We're already not taken seriously as a conference by other conferences in FCS and FBS. But we gotta be able to start, man, making sure that we can have top talent and top talented teams to be able to compete. Even up to 3 years ago, when we had Willie and Dion and even Alabama, you couldn't have a quarterback go down and then kind of say, "Hey, we go still run it." That wouldn't happen. So I just hope that just doesn't happen like that, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you calling in, Fam KJ. Hey, I want to say this, though, because a true freshman winning the SWAC championship has happened since I've been watching the SWAC. You know, there was a guy by the name of Shador Sanders who came in here as a true freshman and was able to win a SWAC championship with a great defense, right?
But he didn't win a national championship.
Well,
he didn't win a national championship.
Okay, I got you.
Right.
But he did win it. He did win it nonetheless. And so my point is simply saying this. It's simply this: is that freshmen can be successful and have been successful in the SWAC in recent history. Mr. Campbell, what do you say to that?
Well, I'm gonna say that, and somebody stole my thunder. Hey, man, listen. North Carolina A&T, and they went on a run. They won 4 Celebration Bowl championships and beat all comers, and they had multiple quarterbacks, and we survived that. We've seen dominant. Look, Grambling has had dominant runs. Jackson State has had dominant runs. FAMU has had dominant run. This happens in college football on all levels. Now, what I will say to FAMU KJ's point, what I'm disappointed in is what I'm starting to see. And this is a credit. See, this is what I'm saying. You got to give credit. Hey, man, the rule is the rule. We all playing by the same rules. Jackson State playing by the same rules, FAMU, and everybody else. TC Taylor and them identifying talents on this level. That's a credit to them. When Willie was coaching, he was identifying talent. I give Eddie Robinson he's identifying talent. So, man, listen, I'm going to say this again. If Jackson State is building something, you got to do just like what Willie said. They building a bomb, we got to build a bomb. And I was right there with Coach Simmons saying, those guys up there, we got to get better. So this is the same thing here. So can they run away with it? Yeah, if you do not start recruiting better time. But listen, they recruit the same guys that we're recruiting. But they're hitting on them better. They're developing their younger play. That whole offensive line is a bunch of guys that have been there for a second. So that's why I've been trying to tell people, man, when you got to, what is your philosophy? And I talked about this last night. So I don't think it's bad. I think it's good because to me, when you got somebody, the FAMUs, the Jackson States, the A&Ts, and people, that makes everybody, hey, you step your game up or they're going to run over you. Now, me being a FAMUan and the pride that we have, because like I said, people talking about coalition. FAMU ain't part of no coalition. FAMU is one-on-one. So I know how FAMU people think, and I know what the pressure is on Cozy. This is unacceptable to allow, and I can understand this. This is Florida A&M in a year that I'm talking to football players that have coached back played in the 70s. They said they'll never remember we've lost 3 games, 40-point blowouts. We didn't even do that when we were 1-10.
Wow.
Okay. So my thing is, with that being said, I'm not going to say the talent is down. I'm going to say a lot of the talent is not being coached well. And what I'll say, because you can look at Deshaun Jackson, you're going to tell me they're not coaching them boys up? They're coaching them. Those guys are a couple of players away from being really dangerous. And I'm telling you, they could get in a game with anybody because Central's not no joke, bro. They went down to North Carolina and beat them home because they coached those guys to win that game. So that's my thing. This is about coaching. So, what I'm telling people with Lockhart and what I've seen, and that's why I keep using Shannon Boyd, I saw that Jackson State team, but they already had talent, and they were just adding piece by piece by piece, and everybody else didn't do it. And Jackson State went on that run and didn't lose a conference game. This thing is setting up like that. So what I will say is, we'll see what happens with coaching and things around the SWAC, because I'm going to say Tremaine Jackson's going to have something to say. He's going to be able to recruit players down there in Prairie View. They are going to be, I think they're going to be amazing next year if they figure out what's going on with their quarterback. We'll see what happens with Alabama State. We'll see what happens with FAMU. So, again, things come. And I'll say this again. Jackson State did lose to Grambling. They did lose to them. Alabama State played them for 60 minutes of football to the 1-yard line. So for 60 minutes and 99 yards, it was potential Alabama State could have won that game. So again, you can get players. There are other players that are playmakers that can come to our schools.
I'm gonna say something right after this, but I want to go ahead and handle this bit of business. Hey, I want to thank everybody who is watching HBCU Coaches Corner on the Offscript channel. We thank you very much for tuning in to the program on there. We're going to suspend the stream there, but hey, just like always, you can catch it on the Rocky Miller channel, the official home of the HBCU Coaches Corner. Hit me with some ones, and then I'll go ahead and suspend it on off-script once you have it switched over. I have something I want to say, though, about where I believe Jackson State has an advantage in the marketplace, Mr. Campbell, in this regard. They are the premier HBCU brand in HBCU football. And so when a guy like Quincy and a guy like Rimbert want to play on the big stage, guys who are, in Rimbert's case, a proven commodity, somebody who is an all-conference player and who wants to be part of the HBCU experience. The bottom line is he goes to a blue blood, top-tier brand. He makes that jump, and he goes there and has tremendous success. The success that Quincy and Rimbert is having, I wouldn't be surprised if we find guys that are now on Jackson State on FAMU's roster that end up at Jackson State, guys on TSU's roster that are on TSU's roster now, they end up in Jackson State, and rosters all over HBCU football. Because at the end of the day, if you want to play big-time football week after week and you want to play for championships, there's only one place to play in recent history, and that's JSU. What do you say to that as somebody who supports the Rattlers? Are you guys ready to compete on that level for players?
Well, let me say this, and I'll agree with you. And I think, once again, for all us old heads, I've seen Jack State look like this. I grew up with it looking like this, but I also went to Florida A&M, and I know what Florida A&M looks like because they are still one of the few HBCU teams that won playoff games, that have beat big games. And we are still in the state of Florida. So that's the thing about it. FAMU, you look at when Billy Joe came. You look at when Willie came, Rudy Hubbard came. FAMU is always a coach and players away from always being in the mix because we're in Florida. Florida, amen, it's Florida. Florida is home of national championship players. So again, the talent level is so big. So you're talking about a Florida. That's why I always say Prairie View. Prairie View should be good. But I think it was interesting when I heard some of the Prairie View guys, some of that because of their past history has hurt them in their recruiting. Tremaine Jackson trying to turn. We don't have that problem with FAMU. A lot of these kids have always heard FAMU being winners. We got a lot of coaches all over the country that played on championship teams. So I think for FAMU, and I'm going to say this about Southern. Southern can get talent. Louisiana has a lot of talent. Southern is one coach away from getting talent. So I don't think it's to a point where Jack State is going to hoard all the talent and nobody can get it because FAMU, everybody has their unique, right, what looks good, right? When you go to the vet, 60,000, 40,000, it might say 60,000 strong, the boom, the fan support and all that. But man, when you come to FAMU, you got that fan support and you got the number one public HBCU. That means something for parents. That means something for kids. FAMU in Florida, my mama can come see me. She ain't got to drive all the way across the country. So recruiting is about getting the right coach and being able to get the player. So with that being said, I think everybody has the opportunity to be a championship program. I don't think it's every program, but I think it's still those programs, the Jackson States, the FAMUs. You got Prairie View coming up. You got Southern and what Eddie Robinson, because of the consistency of Eddie Robinson at Alabama State. Those are things that I'm seeing. Especially when we're talking SWAC here. Over in the MEAC, you look, hey man, Trey Oliver's always going to be in the mix, bro. You're not going to outcoach Trey Oliver. His team's always going to be in the mix. Chennis Berry, his teams are always going to be in the mix. He came in the first year and said, hey, we can come in and win. Look at what Deshaun Jackson's doing. You think they're not going to get all those guys from California that can play and build something up and be Deion Prime 2.0? And see what happens there. So I think there's always an opportunity. But what the good thing about it is, and see, this is where I will say Jackson has the advantage. I'll take the president off because it's shaky. But from Ashley Robinson to T.C. Taylor to Coach O to the players to the collective to the fans, they're all in alignment. That's one of the only schools of SWAC that can say that from, and like I say, discount the president because they ain't stopped Jackson State from winning championships. From Ashley Robinson, the best AD, the best coach, best assistant coach, biggest fan base, best collective. Hey man, that's real talk right there, man.
I agree. And in my opinion, Jackson State is, as a Texan, what I hope that Prairie View or TSU could become, where they're recognized as a premium football brand in the state of Texas. And kids will be willing to really invest their future in playing football at TSU and Prairie View. If Prairie View could somehow get to that level as a football brand here in Texas, they're going to be a team to be dealt with. However, my only point is Jackson State is already there, and they're a national brand. I believe the Lockhart kid isn't even in the SWAC footprint, and he was recruited to Jackson State. That's a tremendous advantage where you can go into a kid's house and tell him, hey, do you want to play at Jackson State? And they don't have to ask, where's Jackson State? That's what happens to happen with a lot of our schools if you're not in the SWAC footprint.
Right. But see, that's what I'm saying. That's why I named the schools. So again, FAMU don't have that problem. You see what I'm saying? If FAMU just recruits Florida, they don't have to go get a kid from Texas. If Prairie View just recruits Texas, they don't have to get a kid from Florida. Alabama State has to go get kids from Florida. You see what I'm saying? Because of just the way the state of Alabama works and how those kids just kind of like, well, I want to go to other schools in Alabama. It's not like that, Mississippi. Jackson State can just get Mississippi kids and again go get this guy and that guy. But those are Mississippi guys.
Now you've explained to me the special relationship between the city of Jackson and Jackson State. And whereas you have players that are really top-notch recruits, even before the star system even existed, that they would consider Jackson State. I believe Ricky Jones said he considered Jackson State and Oklahoma. He was thinking about which one would he go to. In my mind, that was unfathomable, that a kid would look at opportunity at HBCU and juxtapose that to an opportunity at OU, right? That seems crazy. Can you imagine saying a kid going, well, I'm thinking about it's between Prairie View and the University of Texas. Can you imagine that in Texas?
Well, see, and that's the thing. We'll see here, Rocky, and this goes back to what I hope. And again, I love this conversation is free flowing, so it's fluid. But this is what I hope Tremaine Jackson does, that he cuts on the lights to those Prairie View alums that are coaching, right? Because, man, Texas got so many players. Bro, everybody can't go to the University of Texas. Everybody can't go to the University of Texas. Everybody can't go to Florida State, Miami. So my thing is, when you got coaches, we have Bruce Eugene on here, right? Bruce Eugene sent Noah Bonham because Bruce Eugene said, I've trained this boy, raised him up. I'm going to send him to Grambling. I talked to Bruce Eugene. Bruce Eugene got another great quarterback. I'm trying to get that young man in the SWAC. He came down to the FAMU game at Jackson State. We're trying to get that young man in the SWAC. Hopefully FAMU. So again, when you're looking at it, so yeah, you bro, because this thing is changing. So that high level, I got to get 100,000, but it's so many players that want to play that when you get to our programs, and if you got quality coaching, you could get everything that you want out of it. You can get a great education. You can play. Because I'm going to keep telling people this. I'm looking at all those guys, our defensive line, all those guys transferred. They're not playing. You know what they should have done? Stayed at FAMU, and they could have been like Isaiah Major, still getting a check. Isaiah Major's down there at Dallas getting a check. Just think, you're talking about Anthony Dunn, Jenna Hunt, Ash, and the other kid. You know, we got those 4 guys on defensive line. Hey, bro, ain't nobody running those 400 yards on us. You see what I'm saying? Think about that, right? They're still in school. They should have been on this team. Nobody's running 400 yards on Anthony Dunn, Gentle Hunt, Ash, and the other kid that went to UCLA that are not even playing. So those are the things that, again, if you get the right coach with the right program, and again, something that jumpstarts quick, because FAMU, it's easy. Willie took a team 1-10, went 6-5, and was one game from going to the Celebration Bowl his first year, and had all those players from a 1-10 team. So again, if you get the right coach, because the one thing about it, the FAMU fan base is going to welcome you. You're going to get taken care of. You're going to get a great education. So that's the thing about it. So what I'm saying is to them, you got to understand, you got to copy what Jackson State is doing. Get in alignment with your AD, your coaches, and your fan base. And then if you got schools that have the ability to recruit players like a FAMU, a Prairie View, a Southern, then you'll see a change.
So am I correct in saying this, and then we'll get to evaluating the games for next week? And this is what I see with Jackson State. They're getting top recruiting classes, right? Right? They have a top brand in their state, right? And not only that, they're hitting on those transfers more frequently than the other schools in their conference. Correct?
But see, this is the thing about it. All transfers are not made equal.
That's what I'm saying. They're hitting on those.
Well, listen what I mean by that. I saw Nate Rembert put 150 yards on FAMU's ass. Thank you, Jackson State, because he literally made his tape to go to Jackson State for Valley. The kid could play. Quincy Ivory. That kid is a freak athlete. Bro, the boy was a quarterback. at Val. I don't think people remember this. So again, compared to getting guys, and I'm gonna say FAMU, where he looks a certain way in the portal, but then you go look, the kid didn't play. The kid didn't play. So Jackson State is not going to get 30, 40 guys that never played. They're selectively getting guys, to your point, because they want to come and play for a championship team, but they're able to select. And that's the thing that FAMU really got to get it together.
And more importantly, the last thing I'll mention is, and then we'll go ahead and review the game, is that seem like they're retaining their quality players at a higher rate than some of the other schools. We doing our research with Alabama State, and what has caused their defense to take a huge dip is they've lost some players to some other programs that could really have helped them out this year. I want to say Blue pointed out that there were some all-conference caliber kids that transferred out. And that's why their defense is in the situation that it's in right now. We all know that they had a top DB that's playing at Florida State or somewhere, So, and it seems like, again, best of my knowledge, other than the wide receiver Isaiah Spencer, I don't know what other player transferred out last year. They seem to retain most of their players on their championship team.
Shout out to my nephew, my Jackson homeboy, Ken Clark. And I told Ken this, and I'm proud of Ken because that's a labor of love what Ken is doing. That's a labor of love. And man, but this goes back to the thing about being an alignment. They started at 1,400 collective, and it's two things. Because if you got guys that want to go get 6 figures, they're going to leave no matter what. But if you got guys that like being where they're at, and you can provide them a little bit of financial balance, well, you know what? If they say take your girlfriend out, go buy a pizza, pay for your rent, and you don't have those other distractions, because I'm going to keep saying this. If we make all things even, there's nothing like going to an HBCU, period. You see what I'm saying? Because if I can make you feel comfortable, I'm going to tell you, like everybody talking about Andrew Body Transfer. Andrew Body just pledged Kappa. He got a bunch. That boy is living life. He is not going to get the same experience if he goes over there to UAB.
And this is not anything that I know or anything like that. I think they're taking good care of Andrew over there. I don't know what they got worked out.
But there's always more money. There's always more money. Yeah. So that's my point. So let's go back to the KC 1400 point. Let me take care of them to a point, because if I can get you even, then all the other things that's great about the Jack State, the FAMUs, the Alabama State, the Prairie Views kick in. The girls, the professors, the education, the alumni, just being around Black people where you ain't got to look over your shoulder. Man, that's a great feeling. Hey, listen, man, Shiloh was just on some podcast, and I will never forget that because it was on when they had the Prime documentary. And it was his first day, and he had the big boy that played offensive line. Their first day on Jack State campus. And he went to that. He said, man, this thing is different. And I knew exactly what he was talking about. Bruh, it is different. Listen, I'm going to say, you don't think Andrew Body's living his best life down there at Alabama State? Man, the girls are gorgeous at Alabama State. You don't think these people, and I'm saying this respectfully, because these are positive young men. But I'm talking about, these are women they can meet to be wives. You see what I'm saying? These are quality women. This ain't no Instagram thoughts. We got women that are going to go make hundreds of thousands of dollars that are going to be doctors and lawyers at our schools. This is what I'm saying. So if you got this girl that's a J set, that's a dime on the field and a dime in the classroom, I'm not going with no flat booty white girl at UAPB. I mean, Alabama Birmingham. Man, get out of here with that. FAMU, man.
On, one of the things that I think that a lot of the athletes and the athlete that transferred out, we should have one of them on and let them talk about what transferring out to a PWI was the contrast in cultures. Because I think that matters. Because to me, like I said, I didn't go to HBCU or anything like that. But the culture that exists just on game day is such a rewarding and enriching experience that to have that every day of your formative years, I think that's an impact it can have on you that of obviously by people in this room that lasts a lifetime, man. So I think there's an advantage here for HBCUs to take advantage, but they got to somehow get those kids on campus, and they got to somehow get kids that can play on campus.
Well,
for sure.
but wait a minute. But that goes back. See, this all starts in the simple. This is not hard. This all starts with the coach. You show me a good coach, Kenneth Berry, Trey Oliver, Rashawn Jackson, Tremaine Jackson, Eddie Robinson, T.C. Taylor. Look at what all those guys have in common. They're leaders of men. They make you want to come play for them. You see what I'm saying? Eddie Robinson is getting guys, and that's why I'm getting mad. I'm like, how's Eddie Robinson getting guys from Miami? They come to Alabama State, and they're just passing Tallahassee. That shouldn't happen. But you know why? Because they want to play for Coach Robinson. When TC go get all these guys from Atlanta and Texas, and they're passing all these other schools, they want to play for TC Taylor. When Tremaine Jackson went in there and said, hey, listen, we ain't the same old Prairie View. Don't come here. We ain't doing this. Guess what? All them boys want to play for their coach. So that's my thing. When you want to play for a man, and again, remember this too. Your coach for a lot of these young men, not to say because many of these young men have fathers in their lives, but this is their father away from home, which is a very big deal. So when they can go to their father, Rocky, hey, daddy, man, don't bring that to me. You better talk to your coach. Hey, man, listen, you here to play for me, man. You can't be calling your daddy running home. You got to be a man. This is what these men are training these young men to do. So when you meet these men, and I'm just saying, man, and we got a lot of parents. You all know that there's nothing better. And listen, man, my cousin, I've had cousins play D1, play in the NFL. I know a lot of guys. And I've had this discussion. And I'm going to use one quick example. Think about all those black guys that played for Tommy Tuberville. And look at Tommy Tuberville now. Do you really think that they really got something from Tommy Tuberville, or they just went to Auburn to go to Auburn? They didn't get enough. That man don't like black folks. You think T.C. Taylor don't love these young men? You don't think Eddie Robinson don't love these young men? You think about this. That's the difference. So when I, as a parent, and I see a Eddie Robinson, a T.C. Taylor, good-looking, strong black men, educated black men, and I know they're going to take care of because I want my son to be like that man.
Absolutely. All right, hey, Cameron, we're going to buzz through this, man. You guys did an amazing watch party. I came back and watched it. Watched some of it at least. Man, you guys did an amazing watch party. Overall, what did you think about both teams and how they performed?
Man, listen, let me tell you what I was happiest about was because you got to understand something at this game. And the numbers kept jumping. People saying, oh, it was 30. And then they said, what, ended up being 47,000 in the stadium, I think. 47,000 people. Majority of people were non-HBCU affiliated people that got to see their first HBCU football game. And the pageantry, Scotty was there. Everything was first class. But what I was excited about, many people had never been at, man, you got to understand, a lot of people never been at NFL stadium because of how much the ticket costs. So for them to come in there on a Thursday night, 47,000 people, a fairly good game. I mean, of course, there was some ebbs and flows in the game. I was excited, but I'm telling you what, we were not shocked. But here was the thing for Norfolk. They cover, as you like to say, they covered the spread. They did cover. So, but the thing about it, what I liked about this game is that you saw once again Deshaun Jackson being what I'm talking about, a leader of men. Scotty had Nemo Washington, offensive coordinator, a leader of men. Clinton Porter's leader of men. Eugene Chunk, leader of men. These are what you want to see. And for this game, for it to be on TV, of course, they had the A-team, my FAMU homegirl, Tiffany, and Jay on the call. Man, it was nothing better. The camera work was great. The game was great. The interviews were great. You had all these people there, and they were there to watch HBCU football. And for me, as an HBCU fan, man, because you got to understand, this was like a back end, it would be a back end. You had Jackson State at Grambling, Las Vegas. Amazing game, right? National TV game. Great job of HBCU going to NFL Network. And then you turn, and I'm talking about big brands, right? Grambling, Jackson State. And then you got two brands that really people don't know about that put on a spectacle on the back end. Man, that is a great week of HBCU football.
Hey, let me ask you this. How about MEAC 2 weekends in a row leading the HBCUs in attendance? That's pretty outstanding, isn't it?
That is unbelievable. That is amazing. And that shows you
even in a weekend where you had Jackson State playing Alabama State and then Jackson State playing Grambling. You know what I mean? Both those weekends. No, not Alabama. Well, it was out in Las Vegas, and then the marquee game this week was FAMU and Jackson State. So I think they showed themselves well, and it goes to show. And this has been my contention, and Scotty's contention the entire time. There is a place for celebrity coaches in this HBCU game, football. There's a place for them. It may not fit every school. It may not fit every situation, but there's certainly a market for HBCU, for celebrity coaches at HBCUs. Because let me ask you this. If Dawson Odoms and the guy who coached Delaware State before this hosted a game in Philly, how many do you get?
No, well, first of all, the game would be moved to Philly, but that's what you get. But let's be clear. So here's the thing. You can't minimize who Michael Vick is, right? Michael Vick is one of those seminal talents that kids grew up watching, okay? That's Michael Vick. That's the same thing with Deion Sanders. Then you look at Deshaun Jackson, who is a fairly well-known football player himself, played with Michael Vick. Philly is one of those teams that has a national following that people know. So that was very easy for those guys to use their personalities and for them to bring a great game on a Thursday night. Let's be clear. Because guess what? That game had been on Saturday, probably would have bust 50.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. So when you look at that, those names, so yeah, that's what you get now. Here's the thing, though. There's two parts of this, and we'll see, because, again, 1 year does not make a coach. But in the end, you got to win. Michael Vick is not winning. So it's good. Now, they made money on their home guy, because I love what Norfolk did. They put fences around. They said, you walk across this fence, you're going to give us $50. I'm with that. I love how they did that. They capitalized on his name, right? You want to come hang out, you're going to pay us $50 to hang out. 47,000 people, tickets sold for that. But with that being said, Michael Vick's got to win games. Because I tell you one thing, he's what? How many games has he won? What role? What's their record? Rocket, roll that down. 1.
1-8.
1-8. Have they played Morgan State yet?
No.
Okay. So that might be their win if they can. He can't go 2-10 back to back.
Well,
that's a failed experiment.
Well, this is what I'll say. You hired a guy with not very much coaching experience to speak of, and he hired a bunch of coaches that were young coaches. You know what I mean? I think you got to give him time to grow, grow into that position. And even if they go 1-11, in my opinion, even if they go 1-11, that still gives him an opportunity to this season is successful for the University of Norfolk. I'll say that. Not for the football team. Not for
financially, they win it. I mean, and the name recognition
for Norfolk University, this year has been a success, even at 1-10.
Yeah, because what's going to happen is they're going to have a bunch of kids that's going to apply to the university, which is great. They're going to be able to sell their season tickets out. Like you said, he's going to make a lot of change to his coaching staff. He's going to probably be able to recruit. So and I want to be clear. I'm not just everybody's first year is a wash. So, because I don't expect you to, if you do something great, so be it. But with that being said, his second year is going to be measured. That's going to be a fact, because I'm pretty sure he's got a 3-year contract.
I think it was 4, to be honest with you.
Okay, game 4. Okay, well, there you go. But even with that being said, so we'll see what it is.
All right, now this game right here, I thought it was a blowout because I was checking scores, monitoring scores, and I didn't. And this game was on ESPN last night, so I got to see the end of it. And this was on Bad Beats. If anybody knows the segment that I forget the guy's name, but anyway, he does Bad Beats. And
Scott Van Pelt.
Yeah, Scott Van Pelt. This was on Bad Beats because this was essentially a blowout. You know, a 33-10 game, and this game was an 11.5 point spread, and Norfolk State was able to cut it to 6 with seconds left to go in the game. So it had it on bad beat. This went the way we thought it would, Mr. Campbell. I mean, this, other than them scoring 20 points in the fourth quarter, this went the way we thought it would. Morgan State, I don't think they've beat a Division I team. Have they beat a Division I team? Let me see. Have they? Central's not Division I. Miles is not Division I, and Lynchburg is not Division I. So Morgan hadn't beat a Division I team all year.
Right.
So this pretty much went the way we thought it would. Anything you got out of this other than?
No. Like I say, once again, Chennesbury is Chennesbury, and again, I think I got to look. I don't know when that Central South Carolina State game. I don't think it's this weekend, is it? I don't think it's this weekend. I think it's next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will really see, what comes out of. But like I say, Chennesbury is a great coach, and Morgan, man, listen, like I said, they're getting a lot of money from all these folks, but they need to do something about that football team.
Let me ask you. Okay, we'll cover this game right here. This game went how we thought it would be. I always like to check on my favorite MEAC player, Walker Harris, see how he performed. And once again, he had a big day. He's putting up numbers, Coach. Hey, I have to give in. Walker Harris is lighting it up in the MEAC.
And that's, again, we're projecting, but this is the type of team coming from the MEAC that has a quarterback. That's where you kind of fear, because they got a guy that was a 5th, 6th year senior that's been there forever, knows the offense, has a running attack, has a great coach. That's the type of team that you kind of get nervous about if you're going against a quarterback that does not have as many starts compared to when we're talking about Jack State. We're talking about a Prairie View potentially going to the SWAC, going to the Celebration Bowl.
Hey, and is this defensive effort that North Carolina Central made? Is it did they step it up a notch defensively? Because they had a tough day stopping the run against Delaware, but it looked like they may have emphasized stopping the run against Howard, because Howard had. I don't know if I've ever seen this, Mr. Campbell. Have you ever seen this before, where a team has 32 rushes and 25 yards? 32 rushes for 25 yards.
Hey man, listen. Let me tell you what the fam you have. Hell, we went too far for that. So,
we'll see what we can do. Hey, we'll go ahead and go to the next week of games for these guys, because they have some interesting matchups. I don't think we have to worry about this one. I think Delaware State. Now, again, I'll say this, because Delaware State is a team that has had recent success. Could it be a situation where Morgan jumps up and bites him in this situation?
Well, I want to talk about how white folks quick to get money off of black people's backs. You see how they move this game. I think it's on a Friday night on ESPNU now. Mighty amazing, mighty white of them, that they always see our value and they move this game. Make money.
The numbers were good last weekend.
Yeah, clearly. And so the white man says what white men do, that's what happens. With that being said, I think, again, Morgan's not going to. I think Delaware State, because, again, when you can run the ball, you've seen it with Jackson State, you've seen it with Alabama State, you've seen it with Delaware State. That puts you in a championship scenario. I think that's not going to stop that. I think Morgan is just playing the string out. I think Delaware State goes big on these guys.
All right. And this is Howard and South Carolina State. I got South Carolina State in this one. I think I'm not sure what the spread is going to be, but I'll say it's at least double digits.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think, once again, Howard is not a good football team, and they've kind of shown that, they got the FAMU win, and that's on their notch. That wasn't worth anything, honestly. So South Carolina State, like I say, South Carolina State is not going to lose games that they're supposed to win. That Chennesbury is that type of coach. Chennesbury knows he's going to beat these guys. He's got 2 games he's got to win. That's against North Carolina Central, and Delaware State puts it right back in the Celebration Bowl.
Hey, this is an interesting game I see. It kicks off at 1 o'clock Central Time, 12 o'clock noon. But let me ask you this. The question in here is this. Will Trey Oliver be able to get a win against a celebrity coach this year?
Yes, because let me tell you something about Trey Oliver. And I, you know, it's kind of funny. I'm gonna use and shout out to Josh, but there was a lot of arrogance. We watch film. We gonna give people an hour to talk, and they got their ass handed to them by Delaware State. That's not gonna happen in this game because Trey Oliver understands also too. He loses game, he's out of the MEAC race. So I think they're gonna really focus on this game, really take this game serious. They got embarrassed at homecoming. The fan base got embarrassed. They were doing all that big talking and all that stuff. And then Scotty made a mockery of them. So trust me, these people watch this stuff. And Trey Oliver is a gangster. He is not, because that's one thing. Trey Oliver's not going to have this, well, I lost to Chennisberry, I lost to Deshaun Jackson, I lost to Michael Vick. There's no way. Do
you think there'll be a situation where Deshaun Jackson will be inclined to share Trey's secrets with his good friend Michael Vick?
He can say, let me tell you, unless he's sending Gillis down there, it don't matter. Because you got to send the players to execute the plays. Now, Otto's going to, and that's the thing about it. Can Otto throw the ball? You know what? Yes, he can. But once we've saw for Norfolk all year long that they have not been able to execute on defense and make stops, and they have made timely, costly penalties on offense consistently to stall drives out.
But you saying in this game, Norfolk will come in focused and ready to play. Not Norfolk.
No,
Central will come in focused and ready to play. And do you think this will be a double-digit victory?
There's no doubt in my mind. I think they're gonna really try to go double digits on these boys.
Okay, I'm with you. Let's check out the SWAC last week, man. I think the SWAC was.
Woo! SWAC was swacking last week, boy.
And we had a lot of interesting events, man. A lot of interesting events. This, to me, these two games were 1A and 1B SWAC games of the year. I'm going to look at the Alabama State game first because this is the one that I did get a chance. I made sure while the mimosas was flowing, while the chicken and waffles was being brought out, I was out here at Alexa watching this game right there on Las Vegas Strip, watching this game at noon, around noon, West Coast time. So, but what I saw in this game was I was shocked that Prairie View got out to such a commanding lead. I was shocked. I didn't predict that. I actually took Alabama State in this game, and I got them at 6.5, and my money went to, I donated money to one of those casinos out there because I thought they would at least win this game by at least 10, to be honest with you. But a well-coached Prairie View team came in, executing, ready to play. They got a turnover from AB early, and they were able to cash it in. But for whatever reason, in the second half, they weren't able to duplicate the offensive performance in the second half. And ultimately, I think that's what got the best of them. Even when Andrew Body went out, didn't play the second half, Alabama State was able to generate more offense than they were able to. And again, you probably can say also with sincerity, this game was lost rather than won because Cam Peters threw 4 interceptions. I think that was probably the most critical factor in this game. What about you, Mr. Campbell?
Well, there it is. You look at Prairie View going for 248 yards rushing, 2 running backs running for 100 yards. Well, Cameron Peters gives you the other 100 yards. Cameron Peters almost throws for 200 yards. But the thing about it is, you're not going to win any game when you give 4 turnovers, 4 interceptions. Prairie View had the game plan to win this game. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. And I think this is one thing we all knew, and I told everybody this. Remember, Alabama State only had 1 defensive starter coming back. This is not the strength of their team. The strength of their team is Andrew Body and the offensive line, which is the first time. The quarterback and offensive line is not the defensive line and the linebackers. Prairie View came out running hard, well-executed plays, had Alabama State on their heels, had Andrew Body kind of like, okay, let me get into the game. And you got to understand something. Got it all the way down. Mind you, Andrew went out with an injury, but had a chance to tie the game at the end. even with 4 turnovers. So this is one of those games that I know that Coach Jackson will use to his team and say, this is the difference between being a championship team and a team not being a championship team. So he's going to show this film. He's going to work with his quarterback, minimize. And there were some things that I think play calling wise, he'll look at it and say, maybe we should have did this in certain scenarios. I'm pretty sure when he looks back at that, they'll probably be. But this is the great thing about it. When you got a great coach like Tremaine Jackson, these are games that you can learn from, not be hurt by.
Absolutely. I was impressed with Prairie View. They much farther along in their program than I gave them credit for. And looking forward to the SWAC championship, if they're fortunate enough to play in it, I believe it's going to be much more of a game than people may think. The issue I see is, and let me go back to the box score. They're going to have to somehow be able to corral this 213 yards that Alabama State gave up, because this could be 500 for Jackson State. You know what I mean? As much as if they commit the ball to run the ball like they did against FAMU. We talked about this game a little bit, Mr. Campbell, the FAMU-Jackson game. Anything you want to add to the comments you already made? It kind of went the way I thought it would.
Yeah.
I think that FAMU would have to not FAMU, but Jackson State would have to give this game away in order for it to be competitive. And they did everything but that. They looked like, when I looked at the box score, and then I saw they ran 56 times for 392 yards and 4 touchdowns. That sums up the game. I didn't even pay attention to the 5 of 10 for 105 and a touchdown, because when you run the ball like that, do you need to do anything else?
No. It looked like one of those old Nebraska-Oklahoma games when they would score 40, 50, 60, and they run for 400, 500 yards. It really looked like that. And the thing about it is, when you come in fairly confident like TC did, and again, I talked to Ashley Robinson. I talked to Ashley Robinson at the game, and some of the jokes are just, and I want to clear something up, because I've seen a lot of people on social media. Oh, fam, you had those guys putting their stuff on in the hallway. Listen, that is not what we try to do. We have issues at our field house. So everybody's had to do that this past year. That is not something that we definitely respect anybody coming down there. So, everybody talking about we did that on purpose. We did not do that on purpose. That is not how it is. Like I say, again, this goes back. Elections have consequences. We need to raise money to get a new field house. There's issues in our field house, and unfortunately, guys have to change down at the basketball arena. So that's what that's about. So I want to clear that up, because I heard too much stupidity of people that weren't even down there talking about what happened. So now, with that being said, Ashley Robinson did make a joke about it, saying, "Can we go beat y'all ass because y'all had us dressed down there?" So that was funny. Shout out to my homeboy Ashley Robinson, because, like I say, shout out for him. And I said, bringing the boom down there, and Jack State fans being class act. But man, listen, man, it was what it was, man. Like I say, I don't think anybody was shocked that was an honest broker about this game, or what potentially was going to happen. We saw it 2 times before. We played Alabama State, got blown out. We played North Carolina Central, got blown out. Jack State's the best out of those 3 teams. Again, all these coaches got ego. TC was not going to get out of there without 40 points. You know what I'm saying? There was no way he wasn't going to get out there. The disappointing thing is that, and I said this last night, Jackson State didn't do anything complicated because they didn't have to. They ran their plays to perfection. And when you're able to get a 3rd and 16 and get 17 yards, and the bounty, that they're not going to throw the ball, to your point, because they don't need Lockhart to throw the ball, and they just hand the ball off to Miller. He goes for 17 yards. Or at the second quarter where it's 3-3, and they're kind of just saying, we're content going into halftime, and Ahmad Miller rips off a 64-yarder off of just their standard run play. This is standard Jackson State play that they run. It's not nothing special. The special play they ran was with Rembert with the reverse, that was a great play. Now, that was a great play. But this was Jackson State just being Jackson State, and that's a compliment. When you can do what you do and say, stop us, and we can't stop you, hey, man, that's what every coach wants to do. So for me, man, to sit back on the Jackson State side, they've got everything in front of them. They've got a couple of big games that they got to win. The Alcorn game is going to be Alcorn. Bethune-Cookman is coming up there. They're bringing their band. I find that very interesting because they said, hey, we want to have everybody up there to try to help us, all hands on deck. But one of the things with FAMU, this is something that, again, Coach Coles is going to have to figure out. Because here's what's funny about this, Rocky. They play UAPB, right? And I'm just playing the scenario out. That's not a good team. FAMU would be favored to win that game. We got to play Valley. Valley's not a good team. FAMU will be playing that. Alabama A&M is trending down. FAMU will probably be favored in that. The only game they probably won't be favored. But so Cozy could mess around and win 3 of the 4 games. And then what is he going to say? Well, we're trending in the right direction. That's going to be unacceptable.
Hey, I'm going to be honest with you, Mr. Campbell. I just got a premonition, Mr. Campbell. I don't know why I got this. What do you think Terenzo Quinn could do with the athletes from Florida? What kind of defense do you think he could put together with those athletes?
It would be the number 1 defense like it was with Smitty Rock. You gotta understand. So we had the number 1, 2 defense in the SWAC, and in FCS we were top 5. You gotta understand. So we're producing the Isaiah Majors, the Marquise Bells, the Isaiah Lands, the Anthony Dunns. You know what I mean? The Kendall Bowlers.
So let me ask you this: I know FAMU is a funny place. Would Terenzo Quinn be welcome on the highest of 7 hills?
Well, I'm going to say this. Coach James Coles is still the coach of FAMU.
Okay.
And I'm going to leave it at that. And the reason why I'm saying that, because I don't – whatever happens, then we'll talk about it. I will say this, and this is what my answer will be. Anybody that is a competent coach will be welcome at FAMU, because FAMU always wants to have people that want to be championship coach. So Terenzo Quinn was just anybody. He's a great guy to be a coach anywhere. So would he be welcome anywhere? Because he has that mentality and everything. Same thing with Tremaine Jackson. Tremaine Jackson applied for the FAMU job. He applied. You got Quentin Gray that's doing an excellent job offensively. So you got guys out there that are going to be great coaches with, because this game, we know Southern's going to be open, right? No, they're going to be open. Maybe another school might be. Again, not saying any names because I want to respect, because we have coaches watching this show. They have a chance to change their dynamic and their trajectory. But Southern, I can say that.
Hey, I'm going to let you know this here, Chris. I'm not going to shut up. And if FAMU come with the bag to Terenzo Quinn, I believe your coach is gone. Now, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I just think a defensive guy like Terenzo Quinn would love to get his hands on those Florida fast athletes, and it could be something special. Hey, but caller from Jackson.
Yeah, Lee, Chris.
23-29. What'd you say?
No, I'm just Chris. Boy. Hey man, y'all get a little. Hey man, y'all got relaxed in the chat, bro. Come on now.
Hey, caller, with the last score, 23-29, you're live on HBCU Coaches Corner. I don't know what. Hey, maybe he fell asleep. I don't know. I'll move on. Yeah. So anyway, I kick him off, and he had to call back. But yeah, that's it. I'm just telling you. Just as you were speaking, I got that premonition. I got that could be something special if Terenzo Quinn could form a defense.
Hey, Rocky, hold on. Listen, we are not leaving tonight before you address the prime minister about what's happening to your boy up there. So, hey, thank you, Sonic Book. Thank you very much, because we ain't going to let this dude off the hook about his boy and what's going on. Yeah. So, yeah, you keep going before we end. We're going to have our Colorado time before the end of the night. Thank you. Thank you, Sonic Boom.
Hey, caller, with the last four, 23-29, you're live on HBCU Coaches Corner.
Hey, yo, Rock.
What up,
Can you
bro?
hear me?
Yeah, man, I got you, brother.
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, you a messy brother. Now, I've been waiting 30 doggone minutes to get this goddamn call on, and you going to say, hey, Rock, you gave me 5 seconds. Click. Appreciate you, brother. I love you, man.
No doubt.
Man. Hey, Bishop Campbell, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm here, and I appreciate you calling, man. I just appreciate all y'all watching, man. So I know you about to bring some heat to us.
Hey, you say you from North Jackson, 601. What's all good? Hey, I'll say this right here, though, because I've been waiting so long with Michael Vick, right? We already know he's a cultural phenomenon, right? And this, that, the other. But
I never will. I can't shake what Michael Vick said, that he never was a student of the game, period. And I see his disposition on the field, even though his talents and this, that, and the other, and I see it on the field, and just, I don't see it, number one. I think that it's a good thing for Norfolk State. Shout out to all script. Even from his presentation when they brought him on the press conference this time, December of 2024. You know what I mean? And we see Deshaun Jackson and the fruits of Deshaun Jackson's labor, and we see that. And I see a lot of parallels between, even Allen Iverson even said it himself. Practice. What is practice? When I see Michael Vick, I see Allen Iverson. When it comes to it, I wouldn't think of Allen Iverson being a D1. Shout out to John Thompson. Rest in peace, John Thompson. D1 high-level coach. Allen Iverson and Mike Vick got a lot of things in common, in my opinion. But I said it to say this, though, because shout out to Rocky Miller. I waited 30 minutes just to say this right there. That's on him right there. But I say this right here, though, brother. Well, Valley, VCU, and Alcorn, if Jackson State take care of business, we hosting the SWAC Championship first weekend of December. That's right there. But here's my thing, though, Bishop Campbell.
Yes, sir.
And y'all talk about quarterback play, right? We talk about quarterback play.
Yep.
Imagine if Robert Kent was a quarterback of Jackson State with this ball club right here. And really what it boils down to is the lack of quality quarterbacks in the SWAC right now. Because even though my family members, I wouldn't be born in this world right now if it wasn't for my mama and daddy and my grandparents, Jackson State University, the Jackson State University alumni, right? And we talking about dominance. No, man, we just ain't playing nobody with quality quarterback. Hell, Southern, different other ball clubs. If they had a decent quarterback, shit, we might be having a different conversation right now. The defense is the defense. Talk to Alabama State.
Right.
So the thing about it is, I think with the SWAC, for us to go to another level right now, because what really make me scratch my head right now, we talking about Lane Kiffin, SEC. What Lane Kiffin got right now, y'all? Bishop Campbell, this is going to hit you hard right here. They got a black quarterback.
They do.
And they in the top.
You know what? Wait a minute. But do you know what that? Wait a minute. But you make it right. But do you know where that black quarterback came from?
He from the South.
What? No, he came from Fair. Okay, he came from Fair. He's a D2 quarterback from Fair State that beat the Jackson State team.
He's a national championship Division II quarterback.
Think about that. That's amazing.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. Coach Jackson losing to him, you know, there's a lot of teams that have lost to him. There's a lot of coaches making millions that have lost to Chambliss. So it might have not been as bad.
I can't hear you, Ross. Who?
No, I said Coach Jackson lost to Chambliss, who was the quarterback at Fair State. There's a lot of $1 million coaches that then got their ass whipped by Chambliss as well this year, is what I said. So he maybe So what I'm saying is maybe that loss wasn't as bad as we initially thought, because that guy was special, and we were able to see that when he was playing Coach Jackson.
For sure. For sure. No doubt. No doubt. By me saying that, it's not diminishing the young man's talent. What I'm saying is that we have to recognize in the SWAC, right, that we have to put more priority on our quarterbacks, our black men who are quarterbacks, and throwing the ball, spinning the ball. That's one aspect of it, right? But we juxtapose that, and we see Jackson State, right, run the damn ball like it's 2010 Alabama. You got Miller. Why are we not running the ball? And Rocky, you know what I'm talking about. Why are we in Tallahassee playing around? That's all I'm saying.
They ran the ball. They ran the ball 56 times for 392 yards. How much more do they need to run? They ran. They won.
Yeah, they saw in the second half.
They won by 25.
They saw in the second half.
They won by 25 points.
Now you nitpicking. We saw what we saw in the first half.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. Okay, and I think this is not fair. Okay, so this is where, and again, we about to start a bunch. Okay, guys, listen. The football game was actually played. Lockhart only threw 10 passes, so that means that out of 66 plays, 90% of them were running plays. Okay, he only threw 10. Well, it was like Lockhart threw 25 passes. That game in the first quarter and a half was a defensive battle. Guys were playing well. They played their little hearts out. They got worn down. But let's give credit to both defenses. Both defenses, hey, Jackson State played like this, and FAMU never played like this. I told Coach Cole they hadn't played like that in 2 years. So that kind of helped. But in the second half, you saw 400 yards of rushing. You can't, it's not, I don't know what y'all want to do. This ain't Oklahoma Wishbone where, a man only threw 10 passes. He only threw 10.
Hey, we got enough.
If you tell me every game that all he's going to do is throw 10 passes and they run 56 times run, what more do y'all want?
What they really want from a nigga.
Hey, caller, with the last 4, 9868. Boy, y'all people from Jackson, y'all on it tonight, man. Thank y'all for calling in and listening, man. Go ahead, caller. You're live on HBCU Coaches Corner with Rocky and Steve.
Oh shit, man! I thought I was on mute. I think the problem we got in the SWAC is really poor recruiting methods. People are doing a good job evaluating talent. They look at stars and not production. I'll take me a guy from Division II all day that has stats. That's why JUCO's so popular, because they got stats. Instead of going after all these quote unquote former 4 and 5 stars, get the guy to produce. In the same way you find your coach. Get your coach that produce. You don't go out there and sign this first year being a DC. You get somebody that's actually been a head coach before at a smaller level, like Tremaine Jackson. He's proven winner at Valdosta State. So if you're trying to get a new coach or a player, get somebody that has, what's it called? A resume, experience. Makes sense?
Oh, yeah, man. We appreciate you calling in, brother. Thank you again. All right, man. Hey, Jackson got internet service and phone service tonight, man. That's awesome. Let's look at these last 3. Oh, well, I guess we got 4 more. Alabama, A&M, and Grambling. Alabama A&M looked like they were going to make quick work of Grambling. However, not so fast, my friend. Grambling was able to pull it off in the 4th quarter once again. Did you watch this game, Steve? I wasn't able to.
A little bit of this game, and I saw Grambling with the comeback, and I think there was a play that was but I think they explained it. I think Sam Shea talked about it. There was a muff punt, and the guy muffed it, but it didn't hit the ground. And Alabama A&M, I believe, hit the guy, which caused him then to fumble the ball. They threw a flag. They weren't able to recover. That was just, bad string of luck for those guys. But, man, again, shout out to Grambling. When they're on their 3rd string quarterback, and Mickey Joseph talked about it. The kid only knew 40% of the playbook. And so you very limited what they got to do. Got to shout out to Grambling's defense that played well, held Alabama A&M to 10 points. Again, and like I say, man, and one thing about it, that hole is going to be whole. And that Grambling pride looks like Mickey Joseph kind of got that Grambling pride kind of seeping in. That's what I'm talking about, the difference between Grambling, a team that has pride, kind of what's happening with FAMU, but you don't see the same thing. Where, you know what, we only got to play what we got to play with.
What's going on in the SWAC? Alabama's A&M rushed for 29 times for 52 yards, and Grambling rushed 44 times for 51 yards. Were they just kneeling the ball back and forth?
Hey, man, listen, I didn't watch the game all the way, but listen again. If you can't throw the ball and you make it a priority to stop the run, this is what happens.
Hey, man, we got a caller, 6660. I think I know who this is. You're live on HBCU Coaches
Hey,
Corner.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, gentlemen. How you doing?
Good.
So, Mr. Campbell, I want to ask you a question, and then I'll come back, Rocky, because I think you can be a little biased, kind of
Okay,
like.
well, who is this? What's your name, brother? What's your name?
This is being TV. I've spoken to y'all before.
Okay.
After looking at the game, because of course, a lot of y'all assumed that they were going to lose by 14. Some of y'all, I think it was Zoe, said they were going to lose by 20, which was ridiculous to me, but it is what it is. What do you think the expectation is? And I don't want to go too ahead because the coach is not going too ahead. I'm not trying to get nobody no bulletin board material.
Right.
What do you think the identity is as far as competition in the future is going to look like, potentially?
You talking about for this season for Prairie View?
Yeah, I don't want to go and say championship, but that's where I'm headed, if that makes any sense.
Well, okay, so let's look at it, okay? You guys have got to play Alabama A&M. You should be favored. You got to play Arkansas Pine Bluff. You should be favored big. You got to play Mississippi Valley. You guys should finish the string out, right? That should be a reasonable expectation.
Well, I agree with that. I don't want to be cocky and say we're gonna win the game.
Well, okay. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to be. I'm gonna be cocky because Tremaine Jackson's a friend of this show,
Yeah.
and I trust his coach. And this go now, but no, listen to Prairie View people. I'm gonna say this again. You gotta have a level, and I said this last night. I don't care what nobody say. When you a Jackson State, a FAMU, a Central, you look at the schedule. You say these are games we should win automatically. That should be that should be the feeling. Because you know why you should have that feeling? Because that is a level of coaching and confidence that you should have. Tremaine Jackson is trying to instill that into you guys, right? So I understand you don't feel it. If that was Tremaine Jackson, I would tell you right off the rip, we winning all them games. I'm telling you, Jackson State people will say, we winning all them games. Jackson State people saying it now with a freshman quarterback. So what I'm saying to you is, you guys should win the wait a minute. I'm gonna let you know. You guys are going to be favored in every one of those games. Those games, you all have the talent. You're more talented. You have the number one defense. You should win every one of those games. Now go ahead.
Okay, so I agree with you. I guess I was trying to not come on saying, hey, we're going to just win the game. Because, again, we played for Mississippi Valley and we lost. Just like Jackson State that y'all love to talk about and listeners love to talk and promote and do all the stuff that they do. And Jackson State done lost the last 2 years to Grambling. So it's easy just to throw out there, oh, yeah, I'm just going to win and dismiss. But I'm just trying to be respectful and say every game is a game. But I'm saying for all of the Rockies, and I want to be like you, Mr. Campbell, and not say something crazy that you're not in Collie and the Scotty. But for all of the naysayers, and I'll just keep it respectful and say the naysayers, keep talking that trash. Because ultimately, if Prairie View would have done the same thing that that Jackson State did, just run the ball, the game would have been damn over. And y'all can come and talk about, and I'm going to say respectfully because I don't want the guy to be hurt. I don't know what's going on with him. But y'all can talk about the body, Rocky. You and Scotty can talk about, body, but his ass was under control. And to be told, one of those touchdowns that they actually, hold on just a second. So one of the touchdowns that he actually scored, that's questionable, and it wasn't even reviewed in the stadium. But if you tell me, Rocky, you were in Vegas, that first of all, when you saw 14-0, I bet you would probably shitted on yourself because you was like, what the hell just happened? What's going on?
No, I watched the game. I was watching the game. I know what happened. I don't mean that
literally, but I'm sure. Yeah, but I'm saying nobody was expecting for them to jump on top of it.
No.
And if you take into consideration, you take all of the body noise that y'all want to talk about, if Cam would just help, if he would have thrown no interception, the game would have been over.
1, 2,
it'd have been over. So, Mr. Campbell, I was trying to say respectfully, I don't want to jump over anybody. I just think I was looking at what y'all said. One particular team ran for 300 plus yards. Yeah. I cannot honestly say
almost 400. Let's be more accurate.
Okay, well, whatever you want to say, you can say, hey, you know what? You picked Jackson State to win the championship right now. I would probably say, which I wanted to tell you, I don't know if it was you, Mr. Campbell, or if it was Zoe that said that, hey, I'm seeing about 3 touchdowns. I couldn't even get in contact with whoever it was to say, put your money where your mouth is. But so I'll tell you, Rocky, if you think they're going to run 400 yards, I'll put my check against your check. And
wait a minute. Okay, now listen. Hold on.
Now, see,
wait a minute, Rocky, hold on. Now, let me say something. Now, people know me. I'm a money guy. Now, you opening your mouth, I'm about to hold you accountable because I'm about to get phone numbers. Now, we about to do this. We going to do it. Now, don't come on. Because, see, one thing about me.
Well, I can say this. Hey, Mr. Campbell.
We can do $100. You want to do $100?
Listen what I'm saying. Hey, Mr. Campbell, I can tell you this. Last year, I made a bet to Prairie.
Yeah.
I said we were going to beat Southern. I lost. I paid Prairie. He got his money done. I bet the same bet to Scott. It was $50. I made the same bet that we were going to beat Grambling. Scotty, he paid me, everything went well. So if I said I was going to bet you, then we were about the same age. I'm just saying, I think we're about the same age. So I would say, all you got is your word. And I say my word is just as good as yours, Mr. Campbell. Might not be as deep pocketed as yours, but I'll say, hey, it is what it is. The point I'm just saying is, for all of the people who want to discount, because I've already tried to send Lionel a message and tell Lionel, stop, respectfully, stop talking to y'all. Let y'all talk all that noise about what Prairie isn't and so forth and so on. You know dang well there is no way in the hell that if Jackson State threw 4 interceptions, they would win the game. There's no way in the world that y'all want to just puff up body. Let him throw 4 interceptions. Do you think y'all really are going to win the game? No. So 4 interceptions, hell, that was a lot. One of them was going in for like a touchdown or field goal within 30 seconds before halftime. But hey, we cool. Coach said, hey, you know what? We lost the game. Put that behind us. We're going to take another step, which is this weekend. Don't look over nobody. Take another step this weekend. And I will say this. This is the part that I really hate to give credit to. I don't know what's going on with the alumni. I don't know what's going on. There are some that are showing up for the game. There are some that are not showing up for the game. But, hey, I cannot make someone come to the game. All I can do is do my part. Like I hear you say, Mr. Campbell, pay my season ticket, donate my money. But I can't make people do what they don't want to do. But there are fans that support them. So, Rocky, while you going out there to Vegas looking at Jackson State and whoever the hell they was playing, your daughter, she went to Prairie. Why you didn't come to Prairie and support them? But keep on going. Go to Jackson State, go to Alabama State, go to all these other schools, support them. Who cares? I don't care where you go. But stop talking about PV as if we don't have a fan base. That's what pisses me off about Prairie. They only talk about, and this is where I'm going to tell you, this is my last point. Rocky, you got to stop letting these fools puff you up. Perry and them wasn't talking about nothing unless they was winning. You don't see them talking shit now, do you?
They're 1-8.
Scott
they shouldn't be.
Well, but the point is, I'm saying you new to the show, but you letting them fan base you put fire under your butt as if to say that they've been doing something. They ain't been doing shit. You got this boy Scotty wearing dresses, changing outfits like he's supporting every other school. Keep supporting them, Scotty. But I tell you this, I done already told alumni, don't give Scotty shit. We don't need you up here trying to promote Prairie View games. Support everybody else game but Prairie View. We don't need you. The hell with you. That's all I got to say.
All right, hey, caller.
That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Prairie View.
Here's the situation. Give me a little room, Mr. Campbell.
Please.
I think these Prairie View people are taking it personal, and they think it's about them. Let's be honest. Prairie View has played in 2 SWAC championships since I've been watching the SWAC. Looks like they're going to play in their 3rd. I've also witnessed Prairie View lose to Mississippi Valley State multiple times. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Campbell. If this is a different Prairie View, right, they'll win these next 3 games. Is that correct?
What did I say?
But if it's the same old Prairie View, the one that's going to go to Jackson State and get blown out, you guys will lose 1 or maybe 2 of these games coming up, because that's what you guys have done. Like what Coach Jackson is doing isn't new to the Prairie View fan base. They have played for championships before. They have made it to championships before. In years where they made it to championships, they lost to Mississippi Valley. So let's let Coach Jackson build this thing one brick by brick. He's building it brick by brick. Only thing I'm saying about Prairie View, if you notice, I hadn't put my mouth on them at all. I just thought they would get beat by Alabama State, which they did. I thought it would be a bigger margin. I even thought that would be the case. I even bet it, and I lost. So, hey, it happens. At the end of the day, you can say what you want to about Cam Peters throwing 4 interceptions. If Andrew Body plays the whole game, we could play the if game till if my aunt was my uncle. You know what I mean? We could play that all day long. But the fact of the matter, guys, you guys played the game. You guys could have won the game. Unfortunately, you didn't. And you guys, fortunately, also still have a chance to play in the SWAC championship. As long as you take care of your business. Y'all have it. Let me say this, Mr. Campbell. Are there 3 weaker teams you could put together to go to a championship game? Could you put together 3 weaker teams?
We're talking about the last 3 games that Prairie View has to play.
Yes.
No. That's what I'm saying. It is. That's why I told him no. And this is but I want you to finish. You keep cooking.
No. So they don't have 3. They have 3 of the weakest teams you can play to go on a run to a championship. Y'all should dominate. If you are truly a championship team, you will dominate all 3 of these teams on your way into Jackson or Alabama State, whichever one you guys end up going to. And then you'll be at Coach Jackson, and this year's version of Prairie View will be able to prove to their fan base that this team is something different. I'll guarantee you this, and I have lots of friends that are Prairie View A&M alumni, have a daughter that's a student. I tell you this, if you guys make it to the SWAC championship and the Celebration Bowl, y'all won't have to worry about fans. Because one thing I know about the Prairie View folks, they got money and they can travel. So just don't worry about the fans. Just keep winning, Coach Jackson. Just keep winning, and the fans will eventually show up. What do you got to say, Campbell?
See, this is. I want to say something. And he said, "Well, Jack State lost to Grambling." Let me explain something to you about Jack State and Grambling. That's a real football rivalry. That's a real football. See, I keep telling people, the records don't win. Those 2 guys, that's football. Them G-men down I-20, when they look I-20 East, they take that personal. So you always going to have something crazy with that. Prairie View, on the other hand, Jack State ain't about to lose the Valley. Jack State ain't about to lose to Alabama A&M. Jack State ain't about to lose the UAPB. They don't lose those games. So if you want to be a championship team, you should be able to look at your schedule based on who you are and say, we're going to beat those guys, and we'll see you in Jackson. So don't tell Lionel to be quiet, because this is the thing that was disappointing, and I'm going to say this. You got to understand something. We got a bad team, and we still had 13,000 people to show up against Jackson State with Florida State having their homecoming, so we couldn't get all the people to the hotel room. I tell you what, if we were at the same record that y'all had, it would have been 18,000 people in that stadium. So my thing is, you guys have got to understand, to be a championship program, it goes on alignment. What did I say? The AD, you got a great AD. You got a great coach. You getting players. You guys are working on your collective. The fans got to show up. I don't want to hear, well, you got to show up. Because when you pack that joint, it is a difference. It makes a difference. So my thing is, no, you guys should have some arrogance. Because when you have that arrogance, the fans, then that throws over the players. The players should have that arrogance. Don't players look at us and move. Coach, you're right. We're going to beat these guys' ass. We ain't losing by less. We're not winning by less than 14. You're going into Jackson State, because you got to go to Jackson State now, more likely than not, or Alabama State. You're going to have to go on the road. So my thing is, again, Prairie View people, talk your talk. But here's the thing about it. You got to back your team up. Because, see, the one thing about the Rattlers, Jack State, give Grambling, because trust me, when Grambling playing them championship game, they going to be there. So you got to back it up. So I don't mind you guys getting upset and things like this. But here's the thing, Prairie View. and this goes back about, and this is your first year, so I give you grace. This is great that you guys done this, but this was your opportunity. And like you said, you threw 4 interceptions, and they lost their quarterback. That's part of being a champion and trying to be a champion. So those are things. You go back to all these teams that have won the SWAC championship in the Celebration Bowl era. They made those big plays to win championships. And I'll tell you this too: there has yet to be a team to win the SWAC championship on the road.
I'll say this, and I'm gonna say this because I'm not. He didn't say this, right? And so I'm saying this. What I'm saying is, I think Prairie View and the football team supporters have a bit of low self-esteem because of the fan bases that they're going up against, right? But I'll say this. It's okay to have low self-esteem when you're comparing yourselves to the Jackson States, when you're comparing yourselves to the FAMUs, when you're comparing yourselves to the Southerns, and you're comparing yourselves to the Gramblings. It's okay to have low self-esteem. It's okay that you guys don't have as many fans. It's okay that you guys don't have as many supporters.
Here's the messy part.
It's okay because you don't have the history that those schools have. Those schools have a multi-generational history of winning games, winning championships in black college football. Period. I'll let you. Am I wrong, Mr. Campbell? Being the historian of the show.
So again, to change the narrative, and this one saying you got 3 games. I don't know. Hey, pull up Prairie View schedule real quick, Rocky, since you got it right there. Okay. How many of those at home and how many of those on the road? That's what I'm. You just click on the team. You click on the team.
Yeah.
How many of those are on the road and how many are at home?
They got 1 on the road. The last 2 at home.
So the last 2 at home. You should pack that joint. I know it's Prime, Bluff, and Valley, but you know what? You should show your team that you are ready to support them because that's going to be that last game is going to take you then the following week to Jackson, Mississippi. Okay? So pack that stadium, put 10,000 people in that stadium, get to 10,000. I ain't trying to say 15, 20, get to 10. Let those kids know that you care. Because that means something. Hey, like I said, because, hey, man, Pacifica, listen, I'm going to tell you something. And again, this is one thing you got to give Jackson State folks credit. Hey, man, listen, they're down there in Tallahassee. It's a big third down. And the boom and the cheerleaders and them 8,000 folks that they brought down there. Defense. Tigers, defense. The players are hearing this. Okay? On the offense. That means something. That means you got support. If that 12 man is a real thing, man. When FAMU rolled up, we rolled up on Alabama State last year, and we was like, oh, we about to blow y'all out. Because we brought all the fans up there, and the Alabama State like, what the hell with these rattlers? Oh, yeah. Defense route, that means something, man. That 12 man means something. So be the 12th man for your team. Stop talking about yesteryear. Y'all all making that money down there. I don't want to hear nothing about I live in Dallas and I live in Houston. I live here. Take your ass to the game and support your team. And when you go to the vet, get your plane ticket, Southwest flies directly from Houston, directly to Jackson. And bring you 4,000 or 5,000 fans. Your band's got to be there. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
And again, we don't, hey, Crook, we don't do none of that 12 fan slander here. We don't do that over here. We respect whatever fans. But when Prairie View they're comparing themselves to those big brand blue blood programs, you just have to understand that the history and the culture of those teams are built on winning and success. Prairie View doesn't have that depth of success that those programs have. So don't compare yourselves. Live in the moment, Prairie View. Live in the moment. Live in this amazing season that y'all having, and just enjoy it to the best of y'all ability and show up wherever you guys need to show up. Because you guys are true football fans. You got to understand that the Prairie View alumni, I wouldn't consider them a football fan base and alumni. They're a great group of people, probably some of the most successful people in the HBCU culture. However, they don't have the rich history and culture that a lot of the other programs have, so they're not used to having this kind of success. And a lot of people who support the football team end up having themselves compared to those rich fan bases. And again, I don't think you guys should take anything away from that. You shouldn't have as many fans as Jackson State. You shouldn't have as many fans as Southern. You shouldn't have as many fans as Grambling. You shouldn't have as many fans as FAMU. You guys don't have the rich history and culture of those programs. And I'll move on. So we covered Alabama A&M and Grambling. Now this was kind of these two teams. Well, let me just say this: we can do these together. These were the two upsets of the week, and I'll just ask you, Mr. Campbell, which one was the bigger upset?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not shocked that Alcorn beat Texas Southern, because Texas Southern has done this several years, what they do. But for Southern to go up and lose to Arkansas Pine Bluff, and they were getting handed to them. They scored later on. And to see Arkansas Pine Bluff and Southern, I mean, to me, the big upset has got to be, this is like Valley beating FAMU. I'm gonna be honest with you. Southern's still Southern. I'm really disappointed that Southern just went up there. And like I say again, I'm just really shocked. I'm not shocked by Texas Southern, because Texas Southern does this every year, where a game that is supposed to win, they don't win.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Southern outcome was, I expected Southern to go up there and win. I didn't get a chance to watch Prairie and Scotty before our broadcast, but I would have really liked to have seen what the atmosphere was like down there, especially going into the fourth quarter where Southern was leading. I mean, where Arkansas Pine Bluff was leading 38-14 going into the fourth. Like, were there any Southern fans left in the stadium at that point?
Was there any Southern fans even there? I don't think that Jaguar Nation even traveled to that game.
And just look at this. Southern has.
What happened at the Southern people? Did y'all even bring your band up there? I'm just curious. Did the jukebox even go up there? I don't think the jukebox went. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong.
And look at it. They have 3 very formidable opponents left. They could easily end this season 1. And will they have? They could end up with season could be Mississippi Valley and 11.
Let me tell you something. If that happens, and let me tell you something. And see, I'm gonna tell you what's funny. That Bayou Classic, and trust me, Grambling is looking to lay an ass whooping on Southern, because Southern has ruined their dreams several times these last couple of years. They basically got Hugh Jackson fired by winning this Bayou Classic. And Mickey Joseph from New Orleans, family gonna be there, can pull out a winning record if he kind of maneuvers these last couple of games. Man, Southern, like I said, and again, Texas Southern is still playing for something, right? Because again, if you go back to your point, if Prairie Views and nosedives, Texas Southern still got a shot. I mean, that Alcorn loss was horrible, because that would have kept the pressure on Prairie View. Prairie View basically have to lose all 3. Prairie View and Texas Southern got to win all 3 for them to get into the SWAC championship game. But they got something to play for, so they're going to play. And who's that last game? They got, was that Bethune? Wait, no, that's Grambling.
Yeah.
So Grambling got Bethune. So and now that game, listen, this Bethune game. Now let me tell you something about the history of this Bethune and Grambling thing. Bethune has gotten the best of Grambling since they've been in SWAC. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people don't know. Bethune was the only team that beat Grambling in those championship years, other than when they lost to A&T. So Bethune in the last 7 years has had tremendous success against Grambling.
Well, and I'm looking at this, Coach Joseph has had a sneaky good season so far. Whereas if he comes away with 2 of these last 3, he'll be 8-4. And that's to be enough to keep your job, right?
100%. And I tell you what, that's the thing about with Grambling. And all of a sudden, I'm Grambling fan. Look, because I'm gonna tell you this. Saw this on social media. Grambling, them Gram fans raised $500,000 for athletics on their day of giving for athletics. $500,000. Hey man, listen, they're in it to win it. Don't ever think that Grambling fan base is not in it to win it. So he can finish off strong, beat Southern, like you say, finish 8-4. Then you gotta say that they would have beaten Jackson State and Southern, which they haven't done since their championship year. That's a big deal, man. That's a big deal.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Campbell. I haven't been able to find anything on T-Set and his status. They've been pretty quiet about that the last week. Have you been able to run across anything? I know you.
Mickey Joseph said, and just what he said, Mickey Joseph talked to his mother, and his mother said that he got up. That's what he said his mother did, but she's keeping it close to the hip. And what Mickey Joseph said, he just told his mother in public, this was on the coach's call, that the only thing we wanted to know because everybody's concerned. So I think that whatever's going on, the family wants to make sure before they make any announcement, they want to make sure whatever they announce is factual. You know what I mean? Not something that could go the wrong way. They don't want to sit back and say, oh, the kid's paralyzed. And, all the things that people, social media will go the wrong way and put stuff out there. So I respected their privacy. I think Coach Joseph just let her know that the only reason why he keeps asking because people want to support. And if there's anything he needs, the HBCU fan base will be there to support the young man. Because I do know if there is something that young man needs, the HBCU fan base will definitely be there for him.
Yeah, I'm just praying that he'll make a full recovery and we'll get a chance to see him on the gridiron here soon. Because he's a sensational player. And I very talented, and I just want him to make a full recovery.
Absolutely.
And, they didn't, the kind of weird thing is, we don't even know if he's still in the hospital or not. You know what I mean?
No, he is still in the hospital. He is.
He is.
Yes, he's still in the hospital. Yes.
Okay. All right. So at least he's getting the care that he needs.
100%. 100%.
And is he still in Vegas?
I believe so.
Okay. Man, wish I had known that.
Yeah.
All right. Next up. We got these last 2 games. Let me so let me ask you this here. Southern. We just saw where they probably are going to lose their last 3 games, right? You mentioned you've never seen Southern in this condition in your 50 years of living. Where do they go to pick up the pieces, Mr. Campbell?
Well, this is the thing about it. I think Southern is going to have to get out of that. We forgot to find somebody that's Pete Richardson clone. Pete Richardson ain't walking through those doors. They need to find a young, dynamic guy that's going to be able to recruit. They got a fertile recruiting base down there. They've got the fans. They've got the big-time games. They got the TV games. They got Southern's got everything you need to be right back. But the question is, and I think, again, and I'm just using him because I saw the young man. He's probably not ready to be a head coach. But like that young man, that offensive coordinator for Delaware State, Nemo Washington, a guy like that, I can see that brother, that type of brother down in Southern.
I just got another premonition, and this probably won't work. It probably can't happen. Southern has had a quarterback issue for 5 years, in my opinion. For 5 years. If you bring in anybody, you need to bring in somebody who can fix the quarterback position, right? And I'm thinking of Hugh Jackson can fix the quarterback position at Southern. He's got some unfinished business in the SWAC. and I think he could make it work at a school like Southern. What do you think, Mr. Campbell?
So Crook, Crook, you know, it's interesting that you said that. So Campbell talking to the wrong people. So yeah, the board, y'all got that messiness like FAMU does. So you know what? We might need to start showing y'all craziness to see how that's going to work out. So Crook, you're right. Y'all have a board just kind of like FAMU, and they all in the mix. They're all in y'all business. So, and I don't think Roman Banks is like you to your. I'm Crook. I'm assuming what you say. Roman Banks is not going to be the final say who's going to be the coach of Southern. I'm assuming that's where you're going with that. If I'm wrong, then you can say you can put it in the chat. Say I'm wrong. Hey, listen, that sounds really good. I don't think Southern would ever do that. I don't think Southern, I just think their arrogance would say, well, it didn't work at Grambling, it's not going to work down here. That's the thing. I think Southern is a level of arrogance that they would, I just don't see them doing that. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I mean, they did it with Big Boy. He coached up there at Grambling. You know, never was the head coach. What was they coach? I'm having a brain. Like, what was they coach?
Odom.
No, not Odom. The guy that just left. My man that had the hat cop. Big Boy. No,
Graves.
Graves. Yeah, Coach Graves. So I think, you know, again, when you're looking at, you got to get people in a Southern and a FAMU that the fans are going to fall behind and pour that money out and get those kids down to Southern, because again, Louisiana's a speed state, man. Speed state. That's what Southern, and get those fast guys. And again, but let me tell you this, and I think one of the callers talked about this. Man, it is hard to find a quarterback at this level. Very hard. So if you can find a guy that's a quarterback coach, or bring a quarterback coach with him, that to me is first and foremost. Because I just think having a defensive coach in SWAC, other than Eddie Robinson, and I even think that has hindered him somewhat because of his I can't let go. Because we've always said about Andrew Body, just let him go. But I think Eddie Robinson, I just can't. You know what I mean? I think Tremaine Jackson kind of goes back and forth a little bit about that. You know what I mean? Even though he's offensive, I think he played offensive line, didn't he? I think he's an offensive guy.
Who is that?
So, Tremaine Jackson.
I want to say the D lineman, but
D-line, well, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, but to me, I like what you're saying. But again, and we talked about this with Coach, man. I think what we're going to do when Coach comes back, we need to just put a list of potential coaches, right? Hot coaches, coordinators, offensive, you know, put them all on there. So what? We'll do the Prairie and Scott if they hell. If they can do it, hell, we can do it.
So this is my I want to say about Hugh. If you hire Hugh, that would be a football hire. That wouldn't be, at this point, it wouldn't be a celebrity hire. You could pretty much be assured that you would have a competent offense, something that Southern hasn't seen in 3 or 4 years, right? The other thing you would do is you would be, because I think this has been a failure of Dooley and Graves. They handled the media really poorly when things started going bad, or when they had a bad out, the team had a bad outing or something like that, right? They came across as very arrogant and unsophisticated. And I think Hugh Jackson would be the exact opposite of that. He would be able to communicate in football terms what went wrong on Saturday afternoon, rather than saying, I know better than you and I'm going to fix it, which they never fixed it. And I think that was the problem at Southern. Time and time again, their coaches, both Dooley and Graves, when you hear them talk about what happened, it was about, they never answered questions about what happened on the field. They always deflected and said things like, we'll look at the film and see what happens, but I promise you we're going to fix it. And guess what would happen the next week? The same thing they had a problem with would show up again and again and again. And I don't think the press is going to be a problem for Hugh Jackson. But I just think it'd be a great fit. And I think it's a high profile enough job to where it could, if he's successful, it can really turn into something at Southern for a guy like Hugh Jackson and those California connections that go so well with that Louisiana fan base.
Here's the thing. Here's a name that I think, because he didn't coach down at Southern, he coached close. Quinn Gray, with his offensive mind, he was quarterback coach at Alcorn, so he's recruited that area. He knows the SWAC. He's a quarterback, championship quarterback. Got his team undefeated in the SISAC, likely to be the favorite to win the SIAC. He'd be a great fit for Southern. He would be a great fit for Southern. I think he has the mentality to handle that Southern fan base because, trust me, he understands what FAMU craziness is. And I think that would be one of those ones that if you just looked at his resume, that the Southern people could get and he's an offensive guy. And look, he's got 3 or 4 quarterbacks out here, and they still rocking. So this guy could coach quarterbacks up, recruit a quarterback, and get Southern right back cracking. I think Quentin Gray is the undercover. Now, something I think that was imminent. Now, of course, the perfect fit is Trey Oliver, of course. To me, the perfect fit is Trey Oliver. I think because he's been down there, he knows what and he's a great coach. Trey Oliver would be a great coach anywhere. But I'm just talking about the secondary guys that you're thinking, Hugh Jackson. But if I had to pick, I'd say Quentin Gray would be a great fit.
Now, I'll tell you this. If Quinn Gray has a good run in Division II playoffs, makes the playoffs, win the championship, makes a good run, I can definitely look at him as being a great selection as head coach. I really would like to see how a guy deals with the media, though, a guy like Quinn Gray, because I think Southern is a place where they want a guy that talks big and can back it up.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest with you. And that's just my impression that they want a guy that can talk. And like you say, I think that's why you do say you think Trey Oliver would be a great match. Yeah. So let's look at next week's games. We can pick them and then get out of here, man.
All right.
All right. Here's Prairie View. We'll try to get back in the winning column with Alabama A&M. This is simple, Coach. If this is a different Prairie View game, they come off of a heartbreaking loss and they handle this business and they leave no doubt. And I think they can do it. What about you, Coach?
Look, Prairie View is on the same mission Jack said. You can't lose any of these games. You can't leave anything to chance. You can't say, oh, we stunk up the joint, we gave away. No, you got to win this game. And I think they'll come in focus. Unfortunately, Alabama A&M is tailing down. You know, again, a lot of defense did not stand up the way Sam said. I'm pretty sure that he's going to retool it. And I just think this is, Alabama A&M was playing out the string. And unfortunately, like I said, quarterback got hurt. Would have been an interesting game. That quarterback would have been available. But, Prairie View, I think they come in, they run the ball. I think they dominate this game and get out of it with a good victory.
All right. Jackson State, Mississippi Valley. Though Mississippi Valley has proven to be a feisty bunch against the good teams, though, they got thoroughly mollywopped. And I think this will be another situation where they get thoroughly mollywopped. Jackson State may run for 600 yards against Mississippi Valley. What do you say, Mr. Campbell?
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those ones. It's always a funny game, not too far away from Jackson. Jackson State fans going to just ride up that little highway up there, the valley, go up there into, cotton fields and things like that. And again, I don't think Jackson State's going to run. I don't think it's going to, which they could. I think they could easily put 60 up on Valley. I think this would be one of those ones. They're just going to take it easy, get some of the second string guys in there, and they'll beat Valley like 35-7. Because I think this is one of those games you get some of your younger guys to get in there to play also.
Hey, this is an interesting game right here. I was hoping this was going to be Andrew Body against his old school. I don't know what Andrew Body's injury situation is. I pray that he'll be healthy and 100% at some point. But Alabama State needs every game in order if they have any hopes of making it to the playoffs. Have you gotten any information on Andrew Body's status up to this point?
I don't think he's playing this game. I think the best thing is that I heard of just a separated shoulder that they popped back in. So again, I know they were supposed to be getting a second opinion from the original doctor that did the surgery. So from what I've heard and understood is that he should be able to come back, based off of what his family thinks and his future. So hopefully that'll happen. Here's the thing though, This is one of those funny games because now you got to go back to your backup quarterback, Smoot. And Texas Southern has got to come in and try to win this game. This is a really, really big game for both of these teams because, again, Alabama State, everybody is scheduled watching. They know that Jackson State got one more game that should give them a little bit of a run in that Bethune-Cookman game. So they're like, hey, we're still in this. You know, we still can hope, pray. You never know what happens. So, but I'm going to tell you, do not take this Texas Southern bunch lightly. They're going to come here and try to run the ball. But I think Alabama State, I think the defense is kind of gelling. I think Eddie Robinson at home, I think they're going to have a really good crowd. And I think that Alabama State will win this game. I think it's going to be close, though.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Campbell. When Texas Southern loses a close game to Prairie View, also loses a close game to Grambling, which could be considered the best two teams on the West, and then gets beat to sleep by Alcorn, does that mean that they threw in the towel?
No, that means that just Texas Southern's always been inconsistent. And that just shows that level of inconsistency that they've shown over several years and over the Chris Dishman, regime. They're inconsistent. You can see the talent, but again, they consistently cannot say, it's 60 minutes of football that we're going to go in here and win the game. Because again, even with that Alcorn game, I just think that Alcorn was steady, ready to go. And I think Texas Southern kind of sleptwalked through that game.
Let me also ask you this. Texas Southern had an opportunity to hire Tremaine Jackson on the same hiring cycle that Chris Dishman was hired in. Could the success of Tremaine Jackson somehow make the seat pretty hot for Chris Dishman?
No, because I think he can finish out. I think they'll finish with a winning record, though. That's the thing about it. I think their schedule allows them to finish with a winning record. And also remember, Tremaine Jackson was not the factor. Fred McNair was supposed to have that job. That thing was supposed to be signed, sealed, delivered. That Fred McNair was supposed to be the head coach of Texas Southern. Let's not forget that. So I think Dishman, what do they got? They're
4-4. They could end up 6-5.
6-5.
Yeah. Or 7-4 if they able to.
So I think again they get in 6-5. Who they play last? Who did Texas Southern just real quick?
Oh, they play Alabama A&M and hold on. I just had them up. They play Alabama A&M and Southern.
They should win both those games.
Yeah.
They should win both those games. So again, they can get 7 victories out of it. That for Texas Southern, coach will tell you that's a big victory for them.
That'll be 6.
6. So they got to win all 3 to get to 7.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they win all 3 and they get to 7, and even 6, I think does them well. So yeah, I think he's in good shape.
All right. You're okay. At 3-5 with Alabama with now I'm gonna tell you. Does Cozy have to run the table to keep his job?
So here's the problem. Let me see how I can say this. Unfortunately, people have seen on social media what's going on down at FAMU. Potentially, we're going to get a new AD that's probably going to be totally unqualified from the good old boy network from Florida State. Let me say this. Cozy's lucky that the AD position was in flux at FAMU Saturday night. I'll just say that. Because he might not have made it out of it after that. But with that being said, every game's a new game. So he's got to win this game. FAMU should win this game. They've got enough talent to win this game because they have not thrown in the towel. I think we're a better team than Southern. We should beat Alabama A&M. We should beat Mississippi Valley. The game that's to toss up, again, as always, it's the Bethune-Cookman game. He could actually win 7 games, which is crazy if you think about it. He can win 7. So I think, and I'm not going to say unfortunate or whatever. We'll see what happens with the new AD. He'll make that judgment. I don't think Coach Cozy is going to get fired, though. Now, if he loses all these games, then I think the heat will be so hard that no matter that Florida State thing is not going to save him. I don't care what. And there's no way because then what you're going to have is a mass revolt of season ticket holders. You're going to have a mass revolt of people that's going to give money. There'll be no NIL money. And then what you're going to do? So that is a very perilous situation that he places himself in.
All right. This is the
now. Hey, look, hold on. Let me say this. Hold on. Absolutely not. It is absolutely nothing he could do other than short of bringing Willie back. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling y'all right now. The hell, get your popcorn ready when this happens. Get your popcorn ready because it is going to be absolutely nothing. This man, I feel sorry for him. I don't even know why he want to take the job because y'all thought we did OBG bad. And some of y'all, it's going to be way worse. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm pretty sure that'll be recorded.
Now let me ask you this. Had you had it to do all over again, consider what's happening, would you prefer to kept OBG?
No. Hell no.
Okay.
What I would prefer is that the racist people down in Florida would have not put up some trumped up charges, which they then adjudicated and said $649, which we all knew when I told everybody, and not be racist. So they put this dude up in there. That's what I would have wanted. The state of Florida not be racist as hell. How about that?
Yeah, I get it. All right. Here we go here. Bethune-Cookman and Grambling, an interesting matchup. I must say, considering how both teams has played, considering Grambling's quarterback situation, I got to go with Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bethune. I think they're gonna come in there. They can score points. Again, I just don't think a third string quarterback can stand up to what Bethune's gonna throw out there. And I think Bethune-Cookman, they got a lot of confidence. You see what I'm saying? You see them, Coach Wood is doing those crazy little dances and things. When coaches do that, they're feeling good about their team. And I think that's a good thing for Bethune-Cookman. Again, and Bethune-Cookman knows the assignment. Again, and I'll say this. When Bethune-Cookman came in, I don't think people remember this. They were 15-1 versus the SWAC in their last 16 games. They really thought they were going to come in and do some damage in the SWAC. I mean, they literally had just beaten Jackson State in the MEAC SWAC Challenge the year before. So for them, they have been disrespected. They have been kicked down. That's a proud bunch down there in Daytona. So I think that they're saying, hey, people are disrespecting us. They don't think we can win anything. We're going to keep winning. So I think they're going to definitely do something against Grambling.
So, again, I'll say this, Mr. Campbell. This is going to be weird to say. But I don't think we have any idea who Bethune-Cookman really is right now. I don't think you can find out who you are when you play Alabama A&M, Southern, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Mississippi Valley. I don't think we know who you are. I don't think we know. We know they gave up 52 against Alabama State. But can they beat a good team is my question.
Well, probably not. That's the thing about it. No, they're not. I'm pretty sure Jackson State's going to be favored by double digits. I'm pretty sure. So, no, I don't think anybody's thinking that Bethune's going to come. But the point of it is, like with anything, if I had to bet it, give me a team that can score and hope for turnovers compared to a team that can't score and we kind of hope the defense holds. Because you're not going to hold an offensive team down. Not at all. So I don't think Bethune. I think we do know Bethune-Cookman. They beat all the bad teams and they haven't beat any good teams.
Well, Grambling had some pretty, really good defensive outings. And if this game ends up 20-10 Grambling, will you have considered this team some progress over previous teams?
Grambling?
So if what I'm saying is if they come to the hole and lose 20-10, Bethune-Cookman comes to the hole, loses 20-10, will this Bethune-Cookman team be an improvement overall?
Oh, well, absolutely. Look at what have they, I don't think they won over 3 games.
So here's my question. Over previous years, is Alabama A&M better or worse?
They're probably worse compared to what they've been.
Okay. Southern, better or worse?
They're worse.
Arkansas Pine Bluff, better or worse?
Well, they've always been bad.
Same. Mississippi Valley, better or worse?
But always been bad. But they can only play. But guess what? They play the same teams every year.
No. What I'm saying is, if they don't get a victory against a team like Grambling, Jackson State, or even FAMU, is this progress under Coach Whitty? Is this real progress?
Well, then what would if they lose those games? Then what would their record be then after that?
Like 5 and 6. 5 and 6.
5 and 6. That means they lose 3 games. They'd be 5 and 7. That's a losing record. So how can
they only have 11 games? They only have 11, I think. Let me see.
Okay, well, they got 3 more games. They're 5 and 6, so they'll be 9. They'll be 5 and wait a minute. They're 5 and 6 right now. No, they're not 5 and 6.
No. They're 5 and 4. So you're right. They'll be if they lose all 3 of these games, they'll be 5 and 7. Yes, you're right.
That's a losing record. That's not anything of improvement. Other than they went up the scoring charts a little bit against bad teams. So, no, they've got, again, that's what I'm saying. They've got to win. But listen, they have had success against Grambling. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The one team that they've had, because that's Grambling's their crossover game. And going all the way back to Grambling's championship team, Bethune-Cookman has beat these guys. I think Grambling's only beat them one time since they've been in the SWAC. So Bethune-Cookman should feel pretty good about beating Grambling. Southern, like you already said, who is this? Whose record is this? Who is this? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Southern Alcorn play next. Okay, I got it. So, again, they play them. They got to play Jackson State. They got to play FAMU. So, again, they got to win the game. All you want, man, is like with anything. And I said this jokingly because I knew Jackson State was going to win it. You just want to be in a position to control your own destiny. Bethune-Cookman can do that. Now, whatever happens, if Jackson State can run 50 points on them, so what? At least they had a chance to be there. That's all you want. Because you never know what might happen. Again, nobody thought Jacobian Morgan was going to get hurt. Nobody thought Andrew Body was going to get hurt. You see what I'm saying? You never know what's going to happen in these games.
So here we go. The last game of the evening. By the way, I'm taking Bethune-Cookman. Who did you say you're taking?
I'm taking Bethune-Cookman.
Okay. All right. This is the last one of the night. Southern. Well, let me put it. The new McNairs against the old McNairs. Who you got?
Man, I think Alcorn. I think Cedric Thomas knows this is one of the games he got to win. I think he's trying to right the ship by the end of the season to keep his job. And again, I think Alcorn is going to, like I said, play really hard. I think Southern just packed it up, man. You know, they're not trying to play hard. Those kids, like it is what it is. A lot of those kids are going to transfer. We already know what's going to happen. Kids have checked out. I don't think Southern is going to come. I mean, of course, they'll bring their band. This is at Alcorn, right? Game down on the reservation. Big matchup. G and J Max and all those guys will be there. But no, I think Alcorn wins this game. And I think Southern, like I say, they just you've seen a team that's given up on the season.
Yeah. If you can't handle the UAPB environment, the Alcorn State environment may be even a little worse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's going to be packed down there, especially if the weather's good.
Yeah.
And Phil, I'm trying to tell you, go look at Bethune's record in the whole the last 6 years, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm trying to tell you, they beat a Grambling team that was a Celebration Bowl team. Them boys have been down there and won those games. And I'm trying to tell you, I think Grambling's only beat them one time since they've been in the SWAC. I'm pretty confident I'm right about that.
Hey, man, we had another amazing show, Mr. Campbell. Unfortunately, Coach wasn't able to make it through, but we were able to hold it down in his absence. Coach, we're going to be back with Coach next week. So those of y'all who miss Coach, I'll send my regards to him, man. And I appreciate you guys staying on with us for 2 hours, and it'll be 30 minutes by the time we get off, man. Mr. Campbell, before we wrap this thing up, anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, next week, potentially working on it. We talked about it tonight. Quinn Gray, Albany State head coach, should be on the Coaches Corner next week. I'm going to let everybody know, working that out. We tried to get him on tonight. It was just too short of a notice. Would have been a great time to have him on, especially what's going on at his alma mater, what's going on with him in the SIAC, and what's going on with some of these coaching jobs. And he is a great, great young man, younger than me. That's why I call him a young man, a Hall of Fame player at FAMU. So, that's what we got, man. I want to tell everybody, hey, man, listen, I'm going to say this again, man. I appreciate you guys, and this means a lot that we're able to come on this show and have a good community. You know what I mean? Everybody respecting themselves. You know, people make their jokes and stuff like that. Shout out to the Prairie View people. You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed that. Shout out to the Jack State people, man. Came down to Tallahassee. Hey, man, a lot of wings. You catch me on tomorrow with Mike. You're going to see what I got for tomorrow with Mike at the deep breakdown, man, because there was a lot of wings served down there in Tallahassee. You know what I mean? Shout out to them. Shout out to the Sonic Boom. And, man, just shout out to all the HBCU fan bases, man. We enjoy doing the show for you guys. You know, if there's somebody you want us to interview, let us know. But I'm going to say this once again, man. I'm proud of everybody, how you guys conduct yourselves. And, man, this is what this is all about. Just have a good time, man. We ain't about here trying to talk about nobody and tell them about nobody's school and all that crazy. Like, y'all know I'm not about that. And Rocky just does that to be messy. So, you know, Rocky loves y'all too, man. So we appreciate you joining us tonight, and we will probably have Coach Quinn on next week.
Hey, I just want to address the Colorado situation. I'm still a huge Deion Sanders fan. And
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Look, what's going on there? Is Prime gonna make it, man? Or we gonna have a medical condition that will allow him not to go?
Well, again, come on now. I'm not gonna speculate on the man's health or anything like that. But he's not having a good season. Colorado is struggling. They lost to some teams that I think they should have beat. Anyway, they're fortunate to get a victory against Iowa State, who was at the time a ranked team. Again, the bottom line is Coach Prime has to have better players. He has to coach better, and potentially he has to have better assistants. In my opinion, this Cameron, maybe you can, because you went to a blue blood school or whatever. Colorado is everybody's Super Bowl. Everybody's Super Bowl. So, but for the coaches and the players of those opposing teams, they getting everybody's playing over their head and above what they've shown on film. Again, I don't know when that's going to wear off, but I think that's a symptom that probably will always be there as long as Coach Prime there. And if you're going to have that kind of target on your back as a program has to have a huge NIL budget, and they have to have top-notch assistants and support staff, man. They can't go through this situation where Coach Prime is talking about we want players that want NFL, not NIL. I understand it all sound good, it sounds slick, whatever, but at the end of the day, if you're not willing to handsomely compensate these kids, then you're not going to get the best kids. Come on, and I'll defer to you on this.
It's funny. I told Scotty this, and this is why, again, I know he was going to leave and all that stuff, but this is why I said Deion should stay to Jack State and just see what that experiment would have went like. Because see, here's the thing. It's okay to be Deion Sanders in the SWAC. It don't mean nothing when you deal with them white folks with that money. And every dime that they had in Colorado, LSU, Texas, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Arkansas, Texas A&M had double. And they were going to make sure that whoever he talked to, they were going to find out and they were going to give him double. And this is what he's finding out about his recruiting. Because he thought, I'm Deion Sanders, you're going to come. Like I said, you want to come be dog. Man, it's a whole different level like that thing, man. And I knew that was going to happen. And I didn't want it to happen to Deion because I wanted him to be successful. I don't want any black coach to be. But I don't play with me when I know how this game is played. Them white folks are not going to let you be successful. So any guy you talk to, they're going to know because they're going to say, well, coach, they know you're going up to Colorado. Well, what they offering you? Well, they're going to give me $120,000. I'm just making up a number. $120,000. We wipe our ass down here in Texas with $120,000. Just so he won't go to Colorado and sit on the bench.
Like I say, I got on very good authority that the minimum a player gets at the University of Texas is $400,000 a year. That's the minimum that they get. Schools like Utah provide every player with a brand new pickup truck. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that's happening all over college football, and Colorado needs to catch up.
Yeah, well, I don't think they're ever going to catch up. But you know what's so crazy? And I'm going to say this, and then, Rock, I'll close it out. The crazy thing about that Colorado team, still in the end, the most talented players were the Jack State guys. Even when he recruited, they were the Jackson State guy, which says a lot about that team that Jackson State had and what he was recruiting. That's why I always wish he would have just stayed, because I thought, I mean, of course, he wasn't going to get no 8, 9, 10 million, but he would have got a couple of million down there in Jackson. It would have been very, and I think what he could have done is sold those games for $2, $3 million games. You see what I'm saying? Just because I think people would have wanted to see Jackson State. So I think he could have made his money, but he chose it. And now Shador and Travis are gone. And now it's the reality of the real world.
All right. Hey, man, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, man. We had another great show. I'm not going to even try to replicate Coach's wrap-up. That's his thing, man. Much love, everybody, and I'm out.
All right, good night. Thanks, guys.